Hey, everybody, and welcome to another fantastic stream right here on the Suzette Speaks show. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I am Suzette Speaks. I'm a TV host and attorney here in South Florida, and I love to bring you interesting topics for stimulating conversation. And today is no different. We might step on a few toes, we might hurt some feelings, but I think it's very important that we pull back the curtain on this topic, and that is daddy issues. When we are dating, there are many of us that show patterns and have outcomes that are related to the challenges we had with growing up with our father figures. And again, this is going to be from a woman's perspective. This is not to say that men ain't got daddy issues too. Hello, somebody. And this is not to put down anyone's upbringing. We didn't have control over who our parents are. We didn't have control about the circumstances that we landed in when we came to earth, but we are going to explore. And that's the intention of this conversation. I have a dynamic YouTube phenomenon with me today to do the heavy lifting. Y'all know her, Miss Chantelle Simone. She's making time for us, and I'm grateful to have her. If you missed our conversation on her channel yesterday, trust me, you need to go over to Chantelle's page, go watch it. It was very deep in terms of the internal work we can be doing while we wait, hopefully, for our special someone, for our relationships that we so desire. So we talked last night about building up, again, our core strength, which is our spiritual and our emotional health, right? Our mental health, so that we are prepared to enter these relationships that we are in desire of. But of course, there are some more issues that we have to tackle, and we're going to tackle one of them tonight. As you guys know, I am a single woman. I've never been married. Maybe you don't know. So let me welcome y'all. Maybe you don't know. Let me check the chat first and foremost. Welcome. Again, hit the like button as you come in. Again, this is the Suzette Speaks show. I am Suzette Speaks again. I'm switching it up today. You guys know I like to talk pop culture, current events, a little bit of relational talk as well, which is what we're doing today. I mix it up. I like to give my opinion on what's going on in the world and what I'm facing. And this conversation today came about after me and Chantelle Simone were kind of just wrapping up our chat yesterday, and we mentioned a couple times, about the circumstances that women face sometimes based on residual pain and residual hurt in their lives. And one of the sources of pain a lot of us face is that relationship with our father, with our daddy, with supposedly our first love, supposed to be our first love, but not everyone has that type of relationship with their father. Sometimes the brokenness, the trust issues, the challenges with dating that we have as adults, they stem oftentimes from what we experienced growing up. Did we have a loving father? Was our father stoic and emotionally unavailable? Did we not have a dad or any type of father figure at all? And sometimes that pathology shows up with, I don't need a man at all. Hello, somebody, drop a comment. Some of us don't know what it is to be in or have any first-hand knowledge from growing up with a healthy relationship. So we're learning. So it's not to say I have all the answers. I did grow up with two parents, but again, I tell people, two-parent household had they issues too. Don't worry, we just covered it well. And there's always going to be complexities to discussions like this. So we're going to do our best. We don't have, again, all the answers. We're just two ladies having conversations to try to understand an issue better. Hit the like button, please, as you come in. Again, my guest has been doing YouTube far longer than I have. She has quite the following, and she goes there on her channel. I love the fact that she challenges, commonly accepted behaviors in terms of how we as women move through this world. Again, there are going to be people that want to enjoy that bite of her apple, and then others that are going to say, this apple, I'm not ready to eat it, but it's okay. Same thing with us today. If you want to enjoy the conversation, you're welcome to participate. But again, maybe you need some meat and maybe you don't need some bones. We'll spit them out. It's okay. Because again, this conversation is meant to explore the topic. We don't have all the answers and we don't purport to know everything about it. But we do know within even our own lives, and we're going to share a little bit about our own personal journeys, having dads in your life matter. and the type of relationship you had with your father does have an impact on you as an adult. And if you've ever taken the time to step back and look at the men that you have dated, ladies, you can oftentimes pick out patterns. And dare I say, many times they remind us of our fathers, how they look. Am I the only one? Am I the only one? Please drop a comment in the chat. Please drop a comment in the chat. How they dress, their emotional disposition, how they deal with problems, how they communicate or choose not to. I'm going to tell you a story about a young lady, and then we're going to bring up Miss Chantelle Simone. But before I do, please hit the like button, you guys, as you come in. It's exciting times that we live in, where we have this wonderful platform called YouTube, where we can exchange ideas. And I'm going to drop the link a little bit later, allow you to come up, share your story, share your take on what daddy issues means. Again, if I want to start by defining terms, there is no, it's not in the psych manual, this term daddy issues. It's kind of an informal term used to describe some of the complications that people have with their father relationships as a young child or coming up in their formative years, and how those complications sometimes manifest and impact them in their adulthood. So does that mean that you're super clinging? Does that mean you have to have a lot of attention, a lot of reassurance? Does that mean you think you don't need no man because you didn't grow up with one, and grandma didn't grow up with one, and your mom didn't grow up with one? So here we are, and we are practicing a kind of isolation where a man is non-necessity. I don't know what your story is, but I respect everyone's journey, and I want to hear from you at the end of the show. Let me check the chat. Y'all come on in, hit the like button. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Again, we had a fantastic conversation over on Chantelle Simone's channel last night. So go pick up, go watch it. We're picking up from where we left off. There we go. From yesterday. RM, how are you, my fantastic moderator? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Nice to see you. Her name is Chantelle Simone. I see you, TT, all the time. I don't know about Simone. Chantelle Simone. Let's get it. Yes. Seems to harp and generosity. I don't know. Go a little deeper. And she's going to explain what she uses her platform to do. And I appreciate your feedback, but I don't know if I agree. Okay. Harmony Pill, welcome. I see you. Michael, we are finally in it. Michael says, don't date your daddy. If he failed your family, he's going to make you seek a failure type. Okay. Failure type of men, no matter the value level they have. Oh my goodness. Your opinion. Thank you, Michael, for sharing. Hey, Chemo, one of my Patreon members. Don't forget Patreon. We are live tomorrow night, Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. We are going to be chatting with Dr. Thunder himself. He's come up with a wonderful presentation about using your calendar to make the most of your time. We're going to do some personal development and growth over there. So I want to thank Dr. Thunder. Shout out to Dr. Thunder, who will be our special guest on my Patreon. Y'all know I have a Patreon, right? We do some heavy lifting over there, relationship talk, like I say, life development, personal development, trying to become the best versions of ourselves. So if you want more Suzette Speaks and shows that are not here on YouTube, go over to Patreon. It's very, very accessible. So go over to patreon.com/SuzetteSpeaks, and you will get a taste of a little bit more of my life behind the scenes, as well as special speakers that we do not have here on YouTube. So I want to welcome you. Here's the Cash App if you guys want to support. Moderators, please drop Miss Chantelle Simone's channel so people can find her as well. And I want to thank her again. She big time, y'all. I feel like a small fry in these YouTube streets when I look up to, my big sis here and all the work and all the success she's had. She's putting in that work, y'all. She's almost daily over on her channel, Midday Chats with Shan. And again, tackling different and difficult issues than you might find the average YouTuber, specifically Black female YouTuber, talking about. People don't want to talk about weight. Hello. People don't want to talk about health, because weight also, again, as she said today, is a core matter of just health and living longer, loving yourself. And again, I know that's attached with a lot of emotion. Y'all, I'm gonna let her do that. But tonight we gonna talk daddy issues. Are you dating your dad? Have y'all ever dated y'all father? Like someone who was very similar to your dad? I have. I can't wait to tell you about it. I have. Oh my gosh. Yes. She may have as well. I'm gonna let her tell her story. But yes, this is not uncommon, y'all. And again, we have to actually pull back, get a level of self-awareness, and see if that pattern does it serve us. That's the key. It may happen, but we have to always look and see, okay, I've dated this one, it didn't work out. I've dated that one, it didn't work out. I dated this one. And why is that? So hopefully we give you some food for thought. Hopefully we, prick your curiosity about yourselves. And again, this tonight is a talk from women's perspectives. But again, men have these same issues. So we are going to just again explore this topic. Y'all come on in. Don't be mad now. I know your feelings going to be hurt a little bit because people get very sensitive when it comes to these topics, but that is not our intention. Our intention is not to come to it from a place of judgment, right? But more of a place of understanding, right? And how we can move forward in a more healthy way. Y'all hit the like button. Come on in. I see you guys. Welcome again. My special guest is YouTuber extraordinaire, Miss Chantelle Simone herself is in the building, and she'll be coming up momentarily. Let me get a couple more comments here. Welcome to my fantastic subscribers. I see you. Hi, Celine. Nice to see you. Welcome. Doug in the building. How you doing, Doug? Thank you so much for coming on through. I see you, Veggie. We trying. We doing a little different, y'all. I've been doing a lot of politics and current events, but yes, we're going to get into relationships tonight and how the father relationship with the daughter often impacts us into adulthood. Let's go. Yes. Sometimes the whole block got issues, says Veggie. What's up, Subreeze? Nice to see you. Bay Area in the building. Celine says, I'm so grateful for my dad. He's away visiting my brother. He has been for a couple. Okay, and you miss him. Okay, wonderful, fantastic. Welcome. Hit the like button. Let me know where you're watching from, Ted. This is interesting because the most lovely ladies grow up without their fathers. My goodness, yeah. And that's not to say just because you did not have a father figure that you cannot have a healthy relationship. We're not saying that. Everybody has a different journey, and people have a different, I think, emotional thresholds, right? Different levels of resilience. So we're not going to say everybody, just because you did not have a father figure, you're not going to have healthy relationships. That's not what we're doing here, right? So it definitely depends, and there's a lot of nuance. So take again what you need from the conversation and leave what you don't. All right, Sabri says round of applause. Chemo Suzette. Yeah. No, listen, I dropped it in my community tab. Y'all better check my community tab. I put everything in my community tab. Tell me I'm cheating on them. I did let y'all know. I do. I put it in nice and early yesterday, and Sunbreeze was over there, and I saw Barry and a couple others who had come over to Chantelle Simone's channel last night, hanging with us, and it was very good. And I'm grateful for her invite over there. Okay, Celine. Celine says, I'm in my personal life. I have a friend who's a Black girl. Okay, Celine, and she's on a weight loss. Okay. Many of us are trying our best to become our best versions of ourselves, including myself. Y'all done learn. I lost a couple pounds since the beginning of the year. You're welcome. And I'm still just doing it for me in terms of I want to be the best version of me. Yeah. And I think there are added benefits. Hey, y'all want to go there? Okay. All right. Keep it moving. Let me see if a couple more people want to come up and say hello. Sunbreeze says, this is going to be interesting. I like how she had, what's it say? I like, can I read it? She had to say, okay, it's a little, I know what you mean. I like what she had to say on her show last night. I got you. Shout out to Chantelle. Thank you. Welcome, J Bones. I see you. Celine adds, your fathers impact the way people view God. I agree with that as well. If your father is absent, people tend to think God is that. Okay, your opinion. Thank you, Celine. I do think the impression that you have of what the love of the Holy Father looks like oftentimes stems from your parents. I totally agree with that. All right, we're going to do some work. Y'all hit the like button. Come on in. And I want to welcome my special guest without further ado from, like I said, the most, what should I say? I don't want to call her just unafraid. Bold, it seems like an understatement, but I think she comes from an authentic place and wanting to help people. Like I said, everything she says, I think, is a genuine attempt to have people self-reflect. That's why I think she's a great fit for tonight. And, she's a trailblazer. And without further ado, I want to welcome none other than the one and only Miss Chantelle Simone. How are you?
Hi, Suzette. Hi, chat. Thank you guys so much for having me over here.
I'm so excited, girl. Let me give you a little widescreen so they can see you. How you doing tonight?
Hey, guys. Hey, that was when I was back there saying, that was a powerful intro to the topic. You touched on a lot of hot spots.
Well, welcome, my dear. Again, I love it. People are getting the double dose. We were on your channel yesterday. Now we're on my channel today. So for those who are clearly a few folks don't know you yet, I'm surprised. Like, but tell us about yourself and tell us about your YouTube channel.
I'm Chantelle. My accent is Jamaican. I was born and raised in Jamaica for 15 years, and then I moved to Florida at 15. So they say wherever you are at 15, you can't lose the accent. So even though I've been in America for almost 16 years, my accent is forever here. But basically, I started my YouTube channel to talk about my personal training business because I am a certified personal trainer. And as I put out content and got a feel of the YouTube world, I guess the YouTube space, I just started talking about things I'm passionate about. And one of those things were dating and relationship and manifestation, law of attraction. And I kept on attracting things I wanted in my life. But when it came to my relationships, I kept on attracting undesirable dating patterns. I too attracted my dad big time. And my dad, the qualities in my dad that I did not necessarily want in a man. Not to say my dad is just a horrible person, but he has some bad traits, and I did not want those qualities in a man. But for some reason, I was attracting men with those qualities. And then I started doing my research, started trying to figure out why, because I've always been self-aware. I've never been the type to just blame outside factors. I knew, especially with the law of attraction, I knew that it's what I'm doing, why I'm getting these results. So, long story short, I started doing some research on my undesirable dating patterns, and then I realized that I was leading with a certain energy. That's why I was attracting a certain kind of guy. So, for example, and I use this example a lot. When I was living in Florida, I have an ex who felt comfortable to live with me. Like he just moved in. One day I came home from work and he moved in. And I'm not very confrontational. And like I didn't, I mean, there was faults on my end. I should have said something, but I didn't. And I realized I didn't want a kind of man who would be comfortable just living with me. And in doing my research, I realized that I was leading with the energy that I got my own place, I got my own car, I got all this, I'm independent. Then, of course, I'm going to attract people who are dependent on me. And not to say that you should lead with the, oh, I'm dependent or I need help. Not to say you should lead with that energy at all. But you got to be careful of what you put out there, because then you're going to attract those things to you. In realizing that, I was like, oh my gosh, this is news. I did not know this. And in seeing so many, I went to a PWI, and so the Black community is very small. So I was really close with a lot of Black women in that specific university, and seeing them all have the similar pattern. We're all independent ladies, but we all have man issues. We all complaining about men. I started sharing what I was learning with them, and then I transitioned over and started sharing what I was learning on YouTube. And we're here right now. That's basically it. So I'm basically just sharing what I'm learning, and I'm not coming from a place of perfection. I do not have all the answers, right? But as I'm learning, I'm just sharing, and that's it.
No, I love, again, your boldness, because a lot of people, we have these conversations behind closed doors, and we're very confident. Again, in my small sister circles, I will say whatever I feel and how I, truly call it. But to kind of bring it to the fore where it's in the public sphere, not only among women, but men have joined the conversation as well, so that they are also adding insights and opinions. It can be very daunting if you're not, sure of yourself or sure of your mission. So I'm glad to have a like-minded sister who is also, like I said, using her life, using her experiences, learning from other women, and bringing it here so that it can hopefully help and elevate others. So that's the intent. Again, we're talking about daddy issues. I see you, Michonne Denise. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for the greetings in the chat. Drop a comment if you're watching. I see so many of you guys have just joined. Hit the like button as you come in. So we have a couple comments already, and I'm going to drop the link in a little. But Colin Dublin, welcome, says, my ex compared me to her dad often. I think I broke the fantasy for her when I doubled down on the fact that I was her boyfriend and not her daddy. Yeah, that's important, because again, a lot of us sometimes, I would call it, form a hero complex that,
Mm-hmm.
no man is good enough. No man can live up
Mm-hmm.
to your father. And they want their boyfriend or their husband to actually be their dad. And that's not how it works because people are individuals and people have, different just ways of being. And it's not fair, honestly, to that man to expect him to be exactly like your dad. But thank you for sharing that, Colin. I think that is something that people will, relate to when it comes to sometimes having dated someone who has this kind of father fixation, if you will. Okay, here we go. We're getting Freudian on y'all. All right, let's go. Wonderful 34 said, what's up, my peoples? Nola in the building. Hey, Mixmaster Miko. Welcome, y'all. Come on in. Hit the like button as you do. I'm here with the beautiful Miss Chantelle Simone. We are talking about daddy issues, and I always like, hey, to Chef. Been a minute. Wagwan. How you do? Nice to see you. Miss Sean Denise with the super sticker. Thank you. Thank you, sis, for showing love. Appreciate you. And I think, again, when we define the terms, we're saying an informal term that has so many different definitions. But for us, we're thinking, when it comes to daddy issues, it's us as women not being able to form or find healthy relationships in adulthood due to possible breaks or, unhealthy relationships in childhood. And again, that's a broad definition. And we're going to just pick apart a few of the symptoms, let's say, that we have experienced and we've heard other women experience. And again, it's not to, throw stones in any way. It's more so to uncover why we do what we do. And hopefully you can learn something so that you do not bring that into your relationships going forward. So, Shan, let me now we cool. Shan, let me ask you this now, because my Jamaican sister, we know we have seen this in our community. We have seen this, family, cousins. I don't want to tell everybody business, but I've seen it in so many different forms, including myself. So let me ask you, have you ever seen in yourself, and I know you just explained certain things, that, that's saving a person sometimes when our dads are distant or, require a lot of our mothers. We oftentimes think we have to self-sacrifice to save or kind of be chasing, even in a marriage, a husband. So where you want to take it first? Let's get a one example, let's say, of
So,
what you've seen. Mhm.
so you're saying that validation, because all right, and it cuts deep. This is not just us. This is not just us sitting talking. We didn't just think of a topic, and it's real. It's true. And there was a study that talks about this. I don't remember the study, so I don't even want to mention it
Mhm.
to quote it. But that validation that we see, that if say your dad was an absent parent in the household, as a child, your frontal lobe isn't fully developed for you to logically say, okay, he's not here because he's overseas, or he's not here because he's at work, or for whatever reason. We just take it as daddy's not here because daddy's not here, so this must mean that I'm not good enough, right? And then we, without getting the proper therapy many of us need to get over that, we adapt that as that always trying to seek validation from our partners,
Mhm.
always trying that attachment. I can't remember the name. Oh gosh, that attachment trauma, that or
Yeah.
trauma, whatever we have, right? So we're constantly seeking that validation from our partners. So it's like whatever you were missing from your father, as women, sometimes we tend to seek that in our partners. And if you really think about it, our dads are the first example of love from the opposite sex, as a female, right? If the same go for men too, their moms. But as you said earlier, we're talking about women because yeah, we're women, right? So we're
Mhm.
talking, that's what we're talking about. But our dads are a representative of the opposite sex, the first representative of the opposite sex. So depending if your father was absent, depending if your father was, God forbid, abusive, or whatever relationship you had with your father, you tend to relate that with the opposite sex. So sometimes you go out in the dating world and you're like, oh, my dad was like that, so all men are like that, or my
Right.
dad was like this, without getting that intervention, that therapy that you need, and that realization that wait, it's not all man, but it's just this man.
Right. Yeah, there is so much that you just said there, and many of us do see it again within yourselves, within myself. Oftentimes, we can start to identify once we mature. in our mindset. And I don't mean in just age, just in terms of our experience in life and how we choose to stop and think about what we're doing and if there are patterns in our behavior. And I agree with you. It depends on the type of circumstances that you grew up with. And then oftentimes it will show up again. For many of us, if we haven't had therapy and if we haven't, kind of worked through it, some of us are able to do it on our own. So let me ask you about this. One of the ways I see this has impacted some of my friend circle is dating of much older men. I have witnessed there are women, and again, dating of ages is some would say a preference, but I have seen it play out where I've seen literally I could call out one cousin has said to me, "I'm looking for a father figure," like she says it. And I'm like, Lord God, this is something that is, she knows about herself. She didn't grow up with her dad. And they have a kind of like a struggle to connect relationship right now. Have you seen that? And do you think, again, there are ways in which we can kind of identify this without kind of judgy language, etc.? Again, I know for her, the person that she's with is probably 20 years older. And again, marriage and selection is a choice. But for her in specific, not speaking in a general term, but for her in specific, I definitely see more of a father boyfriend kind of dynamic go on. Have you seen that? And what are your thoughts on that?
I haven't personally seen it, but I can understand it. Because if we think back in the days, right, if we think even biblical time, we are supposed to leave our father's house and go into our husband's house. That's one of the reasons why we get our father's last name and then, get our husband's last name. So, in the sense where you would say somebody's looking for a father figure, I can see it from that perspective because for me, for example, I would want a man who is able to provide, able to protect, offer that security, offer that good decision making, that good logical thinking. Those were all qualities that I got from my father. Now, I think depending on how you word it, it might come off as perverted because it's like, sis, you want your dad or you want a
Yeah,
father. And then
right.
when we talk about age gap dating, yeah, I can see where it kind of like you side eye it, but if we were to really take a step back and just look at it as a whole, the qualities that we would hope that your dad had if he was, a good father. Because let's be honest, that not everybody knows how to be a father. So
Right.
let's say your father was a good protector. You could depend on him to protect you. You could depend on him to problem solve, to make good decisions. Those are all qualities that as a woman I want in my husband. So
Yeah.
I can understand where she was coming from when she said, yeah, she's looking for a father figure. Now I probably wouldn't word it like
I
that.
know, I was like, bold. Okay, okay. I didn't know how to respond, honestly. I was trying to, you trying to validate and co-sign. I was like,
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
okay,
I think
okay.
I think it would depend on how we would look at marriage and relationship. In modern times, we look at marriage as a partnership. So the wife is as equal to the husband, and they're both partners. So if you're looking at it from that perspective, then okay, you're not looking for a father figure because you're not looking for someone to tell you what to do. You're not
Right.
looking for the head of the household. But if
Mm,
you're more traditional minded and okay, my man is the head of the household, he's the one who's going to lead, then you're technically looking for a kind of father figure because you're looking
yeah.
for someone to be in charge of your household.
So you're saying that there is depends on your worldview, the healthiness of that decision making as far as the age range, age gap, if you want to call it that. It can have two, I guess, interpretations. One in which one is not settled with their brought up see, where they hadn't had the love, the security, the consistency, the protection, the guidance of a dad. And so they are seeking a much older person to provide those things. And then there's another way of looking at it in terms of, okay, I'm choosing this type of partner because those similar qualities are something that I'm seeking out, not by subconscious kind of, what should I say, being like as if I'm missing it. So I guess there is a fine line there when it comes to how to interpret that. But that's something I've seen. Welcome, y'all. Hit the like button. Celine says a lot of women who grow up without fathers instead of getting the help they need, they will be promiscuous. This is true. And I was going to get into sexual behavior when it comes to, seeking validation. And if you're not careful, if your upbringing didn't allow you to receive validation in a way, sometimes we do see it manifest this way. Thank you so much, Celine. Yes, Mashondini says she subscribed to this young lady. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate y'all showing some love. Welcome, Herman. I see you. Appreciate y'all. Come on in, hit the like button. Here goes Snuggles talking about drop the link. You like this collab? I appreciate you too, Dirty. Thank you. We doing a little work, Welcome, Simon Hectic, my brother from across the pond. I see you. Herman Pittman says, but men are called mama's boys. Edible complex. If they want a woman like his. Yes, I was reading up on my Sigmund Freud preparing for this show, and I was like, I gotta talk about age difference. And again, we're not saying we have all the answers. You have an ability to kind of sift through the information yourself, but we're bringing it forward so you can look at your life and say, have I seen this before? Have I seen this in me? And what is my reasoning behind dating? Fill in the blank. Are you getting to fill a void, or are you making a healthy, intentional decision? So we want to just, again, ask the question, Wagwan. Thank you. Bosana would be another great guest and collab. Thank you. Welcome to Dirty. Thanks for the love. Kimosi says, can we just switch to the patois already? It's coming, boo. You keep on be talking about I'm a little watered down, but it's in there. It's in there. It's coming. Welcome, one and all. I just want to do a quick reset for those who are just joining. This is Suzette Speaks with my special guest, Miss Chantelle Simone, fantastic YouTuber. Please go over and subscribe to her channel. We're talking, are you dating your dad? And we're talking about the daddy issues. That's an informal term to refer to people's desires subconsciously and consciously to sometimes date their father or father figure to fill and to create a relationship they oftentimes did not have, right? We're talking about looking at our nowadays, our adulthood, present dating life, and seeing if there are ways in which we can kind of analyze whether or not we are making a conscious decision to find someone who is healthy, who is loving, who is giving, who is all the wonderful things that we want them to be, or are we sometimes falling into patterns because we are trying to fulfill what we never had. So we're talking about the complexities of growing up with a dad, or maybe a dad who did not fulfill all of our needs. Sometimes we have also seen absentee fathers have an impact on women. And let's talk about that a little bit more. Again, hit the like button as you come in. So do you think growing up without a father sometimes has daddy issues, an impact of daddy issues on women, and how so?
Most definitely. As I said earlier, as a child, you interpret things. I wouldn't say like extreme, but like you're extreme with it because our frontal lobe isn't fully developed, and our frontal lobe is how we think things through logically, right? And so as a child, if your dad isn't around, you automatically say it's something wrong with me, and you internalize that. If someone doesn't step in, like if your mom doesn't step in and explain the situation to you, then you take that on and say, okay, I'm the reason why daddy wasn't around. And you bring that into your adult years, trying to get validation, trying to seek acceptance, trying to prove that you are good enough. So because men, some men, not say most, some men will sleep with you if you're willing to sleep with them. So because you're getting that validation from that outside source, because men are validating you and men are sleeping with you, you're thinking, oh look, see, this is proof that I'm important, this is proof that I'm enough. And then so you're jumping from man to man. I'm no therapist or anything. So this is just what I was studying and what I was learning on the topic. So but I do think having an absent parent, and it's not just that, but having mom too, having that absent parent definitely feed into some of our abandonment issues. That's the word I was thinking of earlier.
Yes,
the abandonment issues. And so many people, that's why I say therapy is important, even if you don't think you need therapy. Even if you don't think you need therapy.
They're gonna scratch a little surface and all of a sudden you be like, what are you talking about?
I had one session with a therapist, and within 5 minutes he was able to say, "Oh, you seem like you have this, and this." And I was like, "What?" And then when we talk about the conversation more, I was like, "Oh, snap, you're right." You said
Yeah.
I was not aware of my issues. I was not aware of my limitation. That's why I say, even if you think that you are okay and you're in a healthy relationship and your life is just so great, book at least one session to bring these
Listen.
things that we don't see to your awareness.
Absolutely. I think both you and I have that common goal, which is to see healthy Black relationships. And even if it has nothing to do with daddy issues, there are so many other issues that we, particularly in the Black community, carry. So I concur and second that emotion. Therapy is so helpful. Shout out to one of my prior guests. Oh my gosh, her company is called Jesus Plus Therapy. I forget. Veronique Pierre. Shout out to Veronique, Jesus Plus Therapy, because we got the Jesus part, but sometimes we need help unpacking. Thank you, Tatiana, for this comment. That was me, Celine, and I realized that not having an active father, I also stayed in toxic situations longer. I hear you, sis. I never learned what love was like because I didn't have it. Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that. And welcome, 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 Tatiana. If you guys have stories you want to share, please. Celine says, Tatiana, I'm so sorry you experienced that. My cousin has an almost 11-year-old daughter and is a single mom, but she has a lot of uncles and aunts, so she's close to, so she'll be okay. I think time will tell. Yes, having surrogate healthy male relationships does help. I believe in big brothers, big sisters, and things like this, where you can see men from a positive light. Every man is not abandoning you. Every man is not hurting you, or worst case scenario, violating you in some way. I think it's important, yes, especially if there is no dad relationship with young girls. We need to be able to provide them with some form of positive role model so that they are not kind of imprinted with this idea that all men are going to abandon them. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you, Mixed Master Miko says, passing through with a little something. Yay, I appreciate it. Time to the collection plate. Keep going with the good content, ladies. Thank you very much. I'll hit the like button as you come in. Appreciate that. TTOO says the other men have to step up when a parent is around a village. This is true, and I listened to a couple podcasts where there are guys that are like, you know what, I'm my kid is out of elementary school, and I'm still going to the elementary school to do career day or be the chaperone on field trips and stuff, because there were no other guys where they lived that would be participating in those events. So yes, I do think unfortunately it is an added burden for some men because we don't have as many as we'd like, and sometimes these relationships are fractured again through no fault of the child, but they're going to need it. An example, a loving role model. And I agree with you so much. Yes, counseling is what we're talking about, but yes, thank you. There's no legal information. Thank you, RM, for my disclosure. Um, my disclaimer, excuse me. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. So Harold Speaks, I've been supposed to email you. Good to see you, my brother. We gonna collab very soon, y'all. Shout out to Sir Hell Speaks. I would love to have you on, and we're gonna make that happen. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hit the like button. He says it's so good to see us together. Yeah, I kind of think we look good. Yeah. I'm gonna get into another topic that I see and appreciate on the Cash App. Thank you so much from Deshav. Big up yourself, coming through with the Cash App love. Thank you so much. And I'll welcome y'all. Hit the like button. So let's talk about clinginess. When it comes to clinginess and when it comes to, I don't know what to call it, because some people are jealous and overprotective and want to control the man. The man is like, don't let him out of my sight kind of relationships. And I'm saying it with my cousin and say, you laugh too much. I'd be like, I mean it in a loving way. And I don't mean it in a kind of like, trivializing the topic. Please understand that. But yeah, there's a lot of people who will end up in relationships and they don't let the man out their sight. Have you seen this? And can we talk about that in terms of like that, again, abandonment side effect when it comes to adulthood dating?
It definitely is that I mean, trust me, like that abandonment issue, like there's so many things that we do that we don't even realize that we do, and it stems from some childhood trauma. It stems from abandonment issue or anything. And we're talking about absent fathers, we're talking about daddy issues. just because you had a dad in the household doesn't necessarily mean that you might not have these issues. I was talking to someone once, and I was like, you know, we were on our first date, and I was like, so do you have any childhood trauma? He said, no, I had two parents in the household. And I was
No.
like,
Red flag.
okay.
If you don't even have no awareness to know that just because you had two
If it
parents on
doesn't,
board,
right?
red flag. Next.
And then also,
Mm-mm.
with that being said, not because you did not have a dad in the household doesn't mean you have all these
That's it.
traumas and all these, you know, abandonment issues. But it's just worth to ask. It's worth to find out. But that clinginess, yes,
Yes.
I think it does come from a sense of not feeling important, a sense of not feeling good enough, and it all stems back to that, like that insecurity and that clinginess, and always checking on your man, and you're trying
Yeah.
to check his phone, trying to read his text. You know, I don't know how y'all do. It's so draining
Yeah.
to try and check somebody's text message. I can't even check my own text message, you know.
Yes.
But
No.
to always wanting to check his DM, wanting to see what picture he like and stuff, that stems from thinking that you are not good enough. Because if in the event he's doing things that, you know, inappropriate things in his DM, or he's texting other women, you wouldn't find the need to check it so much if you were secured in yourself. Because the fact that you even have those thoughts to check, or, you know, you feel anxious to check, you would have felt secure enough to leave if you weren't dependent on the relationship.
Yeah.
If you get what I'm saying.
Oh no, absolutely. And I think I see this comment, and I want to piggyback on what you just try to say, because that also goes with the physical attachments that sometimes we try to develop, as in using, love making and being with a person as, significant to our being loved. And sometimes we have people who are constantly, seeking those relationships as we just spoke about, in order that they feel like a sense of connection and love, because they always are searching for it because they never felt like they had it. So I feel so, so heartfelt for a lot of women who are just trying to, establish a loving relationship that they never had when it comes to men, and are using their bodies in a sense to try to create that attachment, to create
and
that sense of connection. And it's not necessarily healthy at all.
and they call it sexual liberation in
Right.
today's society, when it's
Mm.
like, as I mean, I know we like to get offended by this, and I know we like to march, but men and women weren't created the same. Men can have multiple, men were created to, you know, have multiple partners. They can get a girl pregnant every day in the year. We can't get pregnant every day in the year. So, you know, that within itself shows you that their bodies were created completely differently than how our bodies were created. But we want that equal playing field when it comes to the bedroom, and we call it sexual liberation when it's us avoiding that therapy. It's us avoiding looking in the mirror and seeing what's wrong with us. Because as
Mhm.
you rightly said, you know, we'll associate um men sleeping with us as that love and affection that we're really craving. So we have these meaningless sex. We have
Mhm.
these, you know, connection, there's
Yeah.
lack of connection sex,
Yeah.
and say, oh well, it's because I don't care. I can disassociate my feelings from sex. Like, come on, ladies, that is cap.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
100% cap.
No,
Not
listen,
catching
so
feelings.
many, listen, they're gonna march. Hold on now, they're gonna march because people love to talk and try to, paint a different color on, and tell you the sky's not blue. And I'm just kind of like, actually, it is. And I don't believe you, it's not purple. One article I read says sometimes we use feeling attracted to others through sex as a proxy for feeling loved and adored. And this can be especially true for people who struggle with attachment issues. Of course, the reality is that sexual connection can exist apart from love. Hello. And conflating the two can put you at risk of deeper hurt. So that, I think, is what is, very, very, what should I say, sometimes in certain circles unpopular to say in this modern time. But it does have that impact where you are deeper into that abandonment issue
You
by
are.
trying to use, I think, unhealthy tools to try to fix it. Thank you, Herman. A different note: a lot of NBA players come from single family homes, but their coaches fill the gap. This is true. Football teams, basketball teams, soccer teams, absolutely. This is very important to see and know that, again, we're talking from a woman's perspective, but this also affects men in a deeply, profound way. So yes, we are seeking surrogates everywhere we go. Shout out to Gaston's World. I see you. Thank you and welcome. Miss Nick Pierre says this is good. Thank you, sis. Glad you're here. Yes, codependency and attachment are definitely manifestations of daddy issues where folks are not really facing the fact that what they experienced in their childhood had an impact on how they are approaching their adult relationships. That's what we're getting at the core.
I want
So,
I want
go
to
ahead.
mention something about this whole codependency thing, and I'm so glad Tatiana mentioned it, because it's very common for us to hear this whole narcissistic men are narcissists and stuff. But narcissistic, like everybody, when they talk about their ex, why their relationship ended, is because it was toxic, because he was a narcissist, because he was abusive, because that. But narcissists tend to attract codependents. So people who tend to be codependent on a narcissist.
That's real. Okay, I'm processing.
So
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So, and this is why I use my channel to encourage us to look in the mirror, because I can come on and say, yes, I dated a narcissist, and yes, he was toxic, and yes, he was abusive. But sis, why did you attract him? And we need to get to the point of why did we attract him. And for too long, we've been pointing the finger, and we can make 1,000,010 platform and talk about how much men are trash and how much men are narcissists and how much men are this. But let's get to the question, why are we attracting him? So I love that she mentioned that codependency.
Mm.
Because I think we, if right now, if somebody was to say, oh, I don't like my ex, he was a narcissist, the first thing I'm thinking, you're codependent, because then you would have never attracted and been in a relationship, and a lot of them had kids with a narcissist. You would have never attracted a narcissist if you weren't codependent.
Oh my. That again, stepping on some toes. Again, take what you will. You can leave a comment if you agree or disagree. But there's some truth to that for sure. And again, you have to be healthy. Thank you, God. Help me as I'm going through my Lent season. I have definitely kind of stepped away from a lot of things and people so that I can hear and see for myself, where I'm going, what I want, how I'm presenting in the world. And I think it's important that that quiet time, reflective time in terms of what we hear from the divine, the most high, so that we are developing a strong connection, so that when things come into our life that don't serve us, we more quickly, sometimes people can fool you, don't get me wrong, but we want to be able to quickly identify and get rid of things that don't serve us, right? So if we are kind of clouded in what we talked about last night, in the busyness, in the career chase, and all these other things, trying to be, super woman syndrome to everybody, and instead of developing our own sense of truth, am I seeking validation from outside sources? Am I just good because the people who really know me and love me actually really know me and love me? Or do I need to come on the internet? Do I have to go get likes from other places? Whatever your pattern is, guys, it's not a critique. It's a desire for us to self-reflect and ask, whoa, what am I doing? This dude is in my face. Why? What does he see? Why he think he could try me like this? Why he think he could just move in my house? Chantelle, just say it. Just say it, Chantelle. Why, sorry, you're on mute. But yeah, girl, I
Girl, the
love
man
it.
pack up. The man
And
pack
just
up
came in
and
your
get
house.
comfortable. Comfortable.
That's a lesson, because guess what? It don't even have to be house, It can be in your mind, in your space. I have
Hmm.
had people invade my space, and I'm like, I didn't invite you. Back up. I didn't invite you. And if you're not careful, and if you're not strong, and if you don't know yourself, and again, your own personal desire, your own personal, what should I say, boundaries, people will walk over them. And especially women, we are trying to be, loving and nice and not, quote, aggressive, and not all these things that we're trying not to be, particularly my Black women. We get the, hard realities of, stereotypes. Well, you just being, you want to be in charge. No, I don't want you to call me. That's what I don't want, because you're not healthy. And you're not finna make my life complex and unhealthy. Oh, okay, y'all mad? Okay, get in the comments then. Get in the comments then. We're talking with beautiful Miss Chantelle Simone today about, are you dating your dad? I'm gonna drop the link in a moment, and I want to welcome anybody who wants to come up. You must cam up though. And again, this is not for legal advice. We are not counseling. We are just exploring a topic. If you need therapy, seek a therapist, and most of us do. So if you never tried it, if you have never thought you needed it, like this young man she was talking about, We all got a little something. We all got a little something, guys. And that's not a critique. It is more, again, to make us all self aware that this life leaves residue on all of us, right? From our childhood, our teenage and formative years to adulthood. And we can ignore them like many of us do. I will just share my story with my father. Pathologies. My dad is a hardworking, self-sacrificing, old school boomer, right? And one thing that is, I think, a very common characteristics of boomers is that they have that stoicism, right? It is things can hurt you, things can injure you in some deep ways, but you never talk about it. And for me, I tend to see that, for a period of my life, I was definitely ending up dating men who were emotionally unavailable. I saw it. I was like, it took me a while, but I was like, what am I doing here? And again, when you're in it, it feels familiar. So you don't see it as wrong. This is the key. Because you're so used to it. I know you can talk about this, Chantelle, but because you're so used to it, it is sometimes hard to pick these things apart, guys. That's what we're trying to bring them out into the fore, bring them out into the open. Because sometimes I was just like, I think this is normal. Oh, you ignored me. Okay, this is normal. Okay, I'm gonna have to be the one to start the emotional conversations and to kind of pull it out of you. Pull, like, you don't want to communicate, you don't want to do any of that. And I thought that was normal. So I had to stop. I had to really kind of embrace the fact, oh, Sue, what are you doing? You repeating back what you saw. And that, again, I called my father. This was when I was younger. The term emotionally constipated was what I called it, because I'm saying this man moved for our whole family. Had a weird transition to the United States. Was put in so many different terrible scenarios, pulled in different directions. My dad grew up an orphan, basically. The man got emotional baggage, but would not talk it, would not share it. And then again, I thank God, because I was like, for him to be as well adjusted, and as we put this family thing together. Again, we think we gonna marry a perfect man. Are we going to? No. But to see what he was able to do, even with all that inside of him, again, there are so many ways that I can appreciate it without hopefully not ending up in the same boat. Y'all hear me? Again, I'm not looking for nobody perfect, but I want you to work on you too. So when we get together, it's not me helping you kind of carry that emotional baggage and heavy load and not getting what I deserve. Oh, you mad? You mad though? Again, and I mean it with a loving intent of understanding that we want to be in the most healthy spaces with the most healthy people we can be with. And to do that, you got to be healthy, because you will draw similar like unto like. And what you just said about the dependency with the narcissist, oh, Jesus, people going to be mad. But help us. We are naturally, as women, wired to want to help, to want to serve, to want to give. But people will take advantage of you. And you have to identify it quicker. Help me, oh God. Identify it so that you get the best of a man, right? You're not trying to save a man, right? So we got a lot more to talk about. I'm going to drop the link. Chantelle, go ahead. What you got? Go
No,
ahead.
you drop some good gems, and you say that what you touch on when you say what you're used to, because you don't know if you're used to sitting in crap. You don't know that you're sitting in crap until you either become self-aware and say, "Wait, I'm sitting in crap," or somebody else say, "Hey, sis, you're sitting in crap." So you see when you're used to, and then this is a triggering topic,
Trigger.
right?
Okay.
Um, when we talk about DV, right? We talk about domestic violence, and if you look at certain patterns, a young girl living in a household with a dad and a mom, and the dad is abusive towards the mom, there is a high chance that that young girl is going to repeat that pattern and date a man that is abusive. And I sat and spoke with someone. This was back in 2020. Funny enough, she was moving to Florida when I was moving to Dallas. So we were kind of like exchanging, because she's from Dallas and I'm from Florida. So, we were switching. So we're kind of exchanging like pointers, what restaurant to go to, what to do, what to do. And she opened up and she shared her story. She said that she moved. She was living in her mom was in an abusive relationship. She ended up being in an abusive relationship with her first husband. She left him. Her second husband ended up being abusive. Then she moved all the way from Dallas to Florida. The first man she decided to be in a relationship ended up being abusive. No, she did not look at their dating profile and say, okay, this one is abusive. Let me date him. Of course not. But for some reason, she was drawn that to her. And it goes back to, you are used to what you are used to unless some intervention happen, unless somebody comes in and say, hey, therapy, or let somebody comes in and say you're repeating these patterns by doing this. And we talked about briefly last night that car example.
Yeah.
When you buy a new car and all of a sudden you see that car everywhere, it's not that all of a sudden the car is everywhere, but it's because it came to your awareness when you purchased that car. And it's the same when we go into dating, because we're used to these qualities in our fathers. So when we go in dating, that's what comes to our awareness, and that's what we're attracted to. That's what we go towards subconsciously. And I want to say, I'm not like, dating your daddy goes both ways, because there's this young lady that I have on my Instagram. We went to college together, and she has an awesome dad. Of course, I don't know what goes on in their house, but based on what she posts on social media, right? Her dad is just awesome. And one day she had posted how much her husband is so similar to her dad, and then it reminded me of that dating your dad. So it's not just the negative traits that your dad
it can
has.
be positive.
It can be the
We're not going to
positive
paint
traits.
every part of this. We are emphasizing only today, for the purposes of this conversation, those things that do not serve us. Right. So again, welcome. Gaston's World said this conversation long overdue. We are just trying to have the conversation, you guys. Again, take what you need. You know your individual experiences, right? So this ain't for everyone. And again, we hope it helps someone to identify within themselves. Again, daddy issues is an informal term, generally referring to trouble some people, not everybody, some have, with forming a secure relationship in adulthood based on early unhealthy connection or lack thereof with their father. So that's what we're talking about. It is not, again, for everyone. Again, daddies can be wonderful role models. And I think my dad in so many other ways. Hey, I'm going to pick somebody just like him in other ways, but just on that one side of him, when it comes to the emotional unavailability, that ain't going to work. And I saw my mother struggle with that, and trying to crack that, heart is hard. Oh my. And you feel like there's something that's wrong with you. Why he not expressing himself? I don't want to feel like that. I really don't. I don't really. So y'all welcome. Hit the like button. Y'all, I see a bunch of new people have jumped in the chat. So hit the like button as you come in. Here's the Cash App. Show some love if you can. Appreciate your support. And Patreon will be live tomorrow, 9:30 Eastern Daylight, with Dr. Thunder, talking about preparing your life through a calendar and making more time for yourself. And we're doing personal development there as well on Patreon, a little bit behind the scenes. I have a brunch coming up. There'll be behind the scenes share from there, and other discussions that are not available on YouTube. So go to patreon.com/SuzetteSpeaks. Let me get in the comments. I see you laughing over there, Sean. Let me see what they're saying around here. Appreciate y'all being here. Let's see. Ted, welcome, says the lovely lady should not date a man unless it leads to marriage, just like in other cultures that take male-female relationships serious. I think this has to be like a cultural shift. We have been, and Dr. Thunder and I had talked about it on his channel late last night. I think he broadcasted this morning, talking about, we had a fantastic show about the structural barriers to Black love. And one of the things that we brought up with is the 2000. He said he just made the cutoff. 2008 is when he got married. He's like, then came iPhone this 4 or 5 or 6, and then came Tinder, and then came Instagram, and what Snapchat, according to him, was made for, and then came these things and the online dating scene, and then all the social media propaganda about what women should do, be like, and say, and what men, therefore, when you talk about familiarity, what they constantly see. And now what my brothers, not all, may think are methods of validation in terms of a physical presence of a woman and what she looks like and all this stuff. So he was talking about all the changes. And I think this goes to your point. And as far as what we discussed last night, that unfortunately, that has to be a cultural shift. Y'all mad? A cultural shift where we are practicing. We, the community, start to practice this. If you're not they husband, why don't you step aside? Okay. You want to just keep dating for fun? Okay. If we saw each other as somebody's son and somebody else's daughter, and we don't want to leave them more injured than when we met them, what would the outcomes be now? Y'all mad? Okay. Culturally, we definitely have to start to address this. Thank you, Ted. Yes, we do tend to date men like our father says. Tatiana, your opinion is welcome. I'm dropping a link now. I just want to see if anybody want to come up and join the conversation, share a few thoughts.
I do want to
Yeah,
add to that
go ahead.
statement when you said it's a cultural shift, and then we also got to realize that when you think of it as like a cultural shift, it can get overwhelming because we're like, how are we going to influence the culture? We're fighting against the feminist movement, and we're fighting against all these influences that we have on on social media. But I think when we talk about a cultural shift, we need to focus on individual. What can you
Yes.
do
Yes.
in you, and then how can you spread that message within your space? And that's why shout out to you for having the courage to have a YouTube channel, because it takes balls,
Man.
right, to have a
Yeah,
YouTube
as
channel.
you say, this is draining. I don't think people think, oh, you just put on some makeup and go sit
Yeah,
down.
I just sit and
No,
talk.
we got
Nah,
to plan.
nah.
We got to research. We got to think about what interesting
Mm-hmm,
angle we going to
mm-hmm,
bring. We got to think about
mm-hmm.
what points we want to make, create the
but
outline, get the
but this
people in
these
order. It's not as easy as it appears, man.
it's not, but these are ways that we can start to shift that culture. And I don't remember the exact numbers, but I think it says all you need is the 20%. All you need
Ooh,
is a 20% to have that mindset shift before we start seeing significant changes. And I think the more we have these conversations, the higher the chances of changing that.
I love it. Guys, the link has been dropped. So if you want to come in and chime in on what daddy issues look like for you or for others that you are, in your circle, in your sphere, and how we can create change around hopefully creating better patterns to get better outcomes. That's what we're talking about. Again, I have suffered my share of looking back and saying, damn, I was dumb. I was dumb. But I wasn't, because we said it last night. You don't know what you don't know. So if you have to stop, reflect, again, talk to someone else. Again, the echo chamber does not help us. Sometimes we are talking to our friends, and our friends sometimes are like us. They think like us. And again, we were made to hopefully spread out and learn from other people. Again, the pandemic has cut off some of that network, has cut off some of that ability to reach out and kind of deal with people that are not like us. So what if I told you I'm maybe dating someone like different from what you've been dating might be helpful, so that you can start to see, whoa, this is a different mindset of a man. This is a different approach of a man. And am I attracting, or am I trying to select, again, maybe through, unhealthy childhood experiences? So it's something that we just want y'all to have food for thought. Let me see what else. Terrified of being alone. Mm, terrified of being alone. I think that's one. Y'all hit the like button as you come in. Talk about that, Chantelle. If you have seen it, if you have experienced this, I've seen it with friends that I'm like, they don't know what they want in a man. They just want they just gonna keep a man. And whether again his disposition is like their fathers or not, I don't know. But I've seen it where again, anything but alone. Anything but alone. Talk about that if you can.
I love that you said that, because you know what, Suzette, it can go both ways. There are two sides to this. All right. Terrified of being alone, so you just date any and every, and terrified of being alone because you don't have an emergency contacts, you don't have a family, you don't have that support system, you know. So I can see where it can go both ways. And as someone who wish I would have gotten married, because I do want that security, I do want that emergency contact, I do want that. I wouldn't necessarily use the word terrified, because but I do want it, and I'm putting it out there, because uh, a downside to not wanting to say I don't want to be alone is saying I accept being alone. If you get what I'm saying,
No, say it
right?
again, say it again, say it again, say it again.
So the downside of saying I'm not afraid to be alone
Yeah, yeah.
is you're basically saying I'm okay with being alone. So you are
Okay.
putting that out there in the universe, like, oh, I'm
Right.
okay with being alone, I'm content with being
No.
alone. But
Yeah.
we need that sense of urgency. I'm not saying come from a place of desperation,
Right.
but I'm saying we weren't created to be alone, especially as women. We need that protection. If anything happening, I dated a firefighter, right? And was serious. We seriously dated, and we had the conversation. We were on the path of marriage and stuff, but we seriously had the conversation. He's the first what they call it, first responder.
Yeah.
First, and I said to him, if something was to happen, like World War III or a natural disaster or something, you are coming home to your wife and kids. You're not going to go save nobody else, right? I need you home, right? And it's just
You're like, damn that job. You finna be home.
forget that job, right? You better block their number if they're
Oh,
trying to
yeah,
call
yeah.
you, right?
Oh my
but but
goodness.
but it's the same from that light, like being unmarried, being single. Nobody is entitled, nobody is expected to come and protect you if God forbid World War III was supposed to happen, or if God forbid. The other day when there was a not the other day last year when there was a snowstorm in Dallas. It doesn't snow in Dallas. I moved to Dallas because it doesn't snow. All of a sudden, Suzette,
Snowstorm.
I was like, and I'm Jamaican,
Yeah, we
freshly, like,
like.
from Jamaica to Florida. What is a snow, right? I was not expecting.
I think I've seen snow once in my life.
We don't do that. We
No,
don't do it.
no.
But to be in the middle of a snowstorm, I called my friend who live in Boston, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what do I do?" And she was like, "Do you have snow tires?" And I said, "I don't even know that they made snow tires. Like, what is that?"
Snow boots,
I'm
snowshoes.
I'm hearing I'm hearing myself.
I can hear you. I can hear you fine.
Okay. That was on my fault.
Okay.
But yeah, like I didn't even know that they made snow tires, right? So being in a situation where it's like I didn't know what to do, having a man who know what to do, know how to make a good decision, know how to not panic. Because I mean, let's call a spade a spade. As women, we panic first before before we make a
We are
decision.
made to balance one another. Let's
We are
go.
made to balance one another.
Mm,
So to this, I think this is a long way of me answering your question.
yeah.
That whole
Yeah.
I need a man. I think it's as long as you're not coming from a place of desperation,
Right.
as long as you're still vetting, because I know I want a husband, but I don't want any and every, right? And
Yeah.
then with YouTube, it attracted a lot of people in my inbox, right? A lot of options.
We're gonna talk about that offline, girl. I'll be like, what's going on right now?
A lot of options in my inbox, but I know, I'm not coming from a place of desperation, because one can argue, oh, if you wanted to be married, you could have been married.
No,
Yes,
that's not
I'm not,
necessarily true.
that's not necessarily, because I'm not saying I'm picky, but at the same time, I'm not coming from a place of desperation to say, okay, let me just, so I think it is important to say, okay, I'm not afraid to be alone, meaning that you're willing to wait, you're willing to identify what you want first, and then you're willing to wait for what you want. Be realistic with
Yes.
what you want, right? But
You
then
got-
you don't want to
Don't
run the
come from the
risk of
place of
saying I'm
desperation. I think is the
okay.
best
Yeah.
thing you said in terms of that characterization. Y'all, I dropped the link. Y'all nervous? Y'all can come, just flash your face in the back, and you don't have to be on screen if you don't want to. But flash your face in the back so I know it's you. Shout out to Mosaic with TJ Randolph, my sister out here in these YouTube streets. Thank you for showing love. I appreciate you, my sister. I thank you so much for coming through. Herman, your comment makes me think, because I've been watching, I follow almost everything, kind of stressing me out of what's going on. I'm supposed to be media fasting, kind of, sort of, in the Lent season to try to get, again, close to my God and myself. And yeah, one thing I've noticed, you see all these Ukrainian women, they got men. Oi. It's a lot of kissing goodbye and crying and hugging and kids. I was like, they have a stronger, what should I say, fabric looking culture. Not gonna say I know everything about Ukrainian culture. I'm not gonna make every pronouncement, but I'm just saying from what we see on television, they follow them to be fruitful and multiply, and it don't look like there's a the culture is it what you're saying here. Ask if they think their men are. Oh, absolutely not. They've been called to war to protect, and to see them again. The news gives you the filter, but from what we can see, they're like, no, I'm going back. I'm going to do my duty. I'm going to protect. But yeah, I noticed that. I was like, I know we have a lot of women with children here in the United States, but again, just looking at the folks who have now become, refugees, it seems as if there is a stronger culture, not maybe stronger, but strong culture there of marriage and family. That was very apparent to me, based on what we're seeing, unfortunately, with those very sad um, news reports coming out of Ukraine. The link has been dropped. Let me see. Tatiana adds, yes, speak what you want, not what we don't want. Yeah, the words are powerful, y'all. The words are powerful. The thoughts are powerful. They start writing the script of life. And I can tell you, even in this short period of me doing a little bit of mental reset with Lent, so many things have already started to manifest. It's kind of like, not only even like the word manifest, but just come into being. I'm like, stop it, God. You're so crazy. Like, it's a beautiful and powerful thing once you are focused on it. I'm going to share some of that on my Patreon at the end of this process. Yes, Christine, I saw this. I just want to encourage everybody. My girl said it best. It's not over until you've given up completely as a woman. Don't give up, ladies. It was more about learning yourself and learning who you're attracting and why. That's what we're trying to hopefully prick within your heart, so that it is now not a, oh my gosh, this guy is terrible. And again, I've said it, I think on last night's show, one thing that has helped my perspective is that you have to realize God didn't design every, I don't know why I'm so tongue twisted today. God didn't design every man to be your husband. So if you're going 100 dates, 99 are probably not going to be your husband. So you have to have that attitude so that you are protecting yourself and your expectations match what the reality is. Not everybody is going to fit the bill. And it's not about you. It's not about, I met and I have friends that everybody's going to be their husband on the first date. I'd be like, come on now, sis. We've been through this. I don't want to be that hater. I don't want to discourage you. But 2 weeks ago, you have already told me that the last one was your husband, and now this one is going to be your husband. You know what I'm saying? Like, that attitude, I think sometimes kind of will be even more damaging, because you feel so let down and you feel like it's you. But again, out of 100 men, 99 are probably not going to be for you. So we have to know that. And again, it's not a matter of throwing away good men. Don't do that. It's not a matter of desperation and just picking any man. But we just have to be kind of realistic with the pool of folks that are probably going to be a match for you, right? So the fact that it didn't work out does not always mean you got a daddy issue. Okay, we got to make sure we are balanced in terms of how we're discussing this. And again, not everybody does have them. Hey, I'm Jose with DJ ran up in the back. I'll bring up just momentarily. Let me read a few more comments. What you said, did WT Font welcome? Did he say yes to that, or is that why you left him? Okay, getting yes, WT Font. We don't do snow tires down Jamaica.
Yes. I'm not even lying when I said I didn't even know that they made snow tires.
Listen,
Suzette, I did not know.
I went to one conference in Denver. I've only been to like Midwest, Northeast while it's been summer. Like, who goes through the winter? And I went to one conference in Denver, and I remember being like, it's snowing. And my Uber driver was like, I was like, can you please just stop so I can just feel it and I can understand what this is like as an experience? And they thought I was hanging out the windows, and I was just so excited. But they were like, really, ma'am? I was like, I'm from Florida. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. But yes, this is a real experience. You don't need snow tires, says Doug, in place that really, okay, help me out. Miss Napier says, amen. Let me say, Sun Breeze adds, when I started dating, I did attract men that had my dad's traits. Okay. As I grew older, I experimented with different kinds of personalities. Great. It gave me experiences I had to learn in relationships. Absolutely. Because if you didn't see it and you don't try it, you won't know. You won't know. So sometimes they say the least person you expect. See, that's a double-edged sword. Don't go for people that you're not really attracted to, but then the person is not going to be like you expect him to be. I don't know which one to do. But I do agree with Sunbreeze here. You got to go outside of your comfort zone. And what we call, what your norms have been. As we said, you pick the Mercedes, all of a sudden you see Mercedes all over the road. No, you had already been seeing Mercedes all the time. So you became attracted to that, and you sometimes are not aware of that. So even when it comes to relationships and who we are trying to choose, we have to be aware. Have I been seeing this same kind of guy, Miami, all over again? Maybe I need to look a little bit broader, a little bit deeper, a little bit different than what I typically go for. Hey, TJ, how you doing? So I like the hair. How you doing?
This is my spring hair.
Okay, spring.
I really like her.
Okay, spring has sprung. Welcome, TJ Randolph Mosaic.
And welcome to the DFW, Simone.
Yes.
You're in the DFW?
Thank you. Yeah, I am. I moved here 2 years ago.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome. I've been here now 10 years. Listen.
Fantastic. And I know, TJ, you got a fantastic channel. Tell the people real quick what you do over on your channel.
I talk about all things good and bad as relates to my relationship stories, good and bad, parenting, good and bad, and having to do an attitude and mind adjustment to enable me to be married at
Uh-oh.
50 plus. So it is
Yes.
possible. It is doable. And
Yes.
I will say, actually, I've been a housewife, a full-time housewife for, since May of last year. So,
Yes.
and I never thought that I would be that.
And yes, I was just going to add, TJ was also a Patreon special guest, my first special guest for my Patreon, sharing her story in such a deep and kind of very personal way. And I'm grateful you're here on YouTube talking all things relationships. Again, we want to learn, especially, that transfer of, mother-daughter, grandma, granddaughter kind of thing is not happening as frequently as it needs to. So I'm grateful for YouTube so that people can see and hear, oh, I never thought of that. Oh, that happened to you? There's nothing new under the sun. That's what I want people to know. And if you get around enough people with enough wisdom, you can, try to figure this thing out. So TJ, let me hear what you have to say when it comes to daddy issues. What are your thoughts on this topic?
It's interesting because as it relates to a father, I mean, the father is the first love that a woman will ever have. And it really sets the tone for which direction they will go. In my case, my dad was not around as much, but I wanted my dad, and so unwittingly, I gravitated to men that were a lot like my father. Some were older, some were more, how shall I say, flashy, because my dad was a hustler in the 70s, and he was real. So very boisterous.
Like a little flash. I understood.
Yeah. And so I was attracted to not necessarily the flashy guys, but the well-dressed guys, or, there's a big buzz right now, how suited and all that kind of stuff. But the guys that, walked into a room and everybody, all eyes, because that was kind of my dad. Well, I didn't realize that wasn't the best thing for me, because that was all that I sought for many, many years. Even my daughter's father, my ex-husband, I saw him because he captivated the room. And it's so funny because the man I married is completely opposite of that. Completely. But but to that point, he's exactly like my grandfather was. Exactly like my grandfather. And me and my grandfather, who was there, I mean, my mother had me as a teenager. So my grandfather was the father figure in my life for many years. So, my grandfather didn't speak a lot, but he made his presence known. He was a protector. He was a, provider. Whatever you think about in the context of a man's man, my grandfather was, and my husband exactly the same way. And it's funny because my daughter said on the show that, had I met my husband in my 30s, I probably would have looked right past him. I'm like, what do you mean? And she said, Mom, I heard about how you were in college in your 30s. So, Mr. Randolph would have been, that's what I call him.
No chance.
And, and it's funny because I had to kind of take a step back. And I'm like, she's probably right. I would have thought that, because he wasn't commanding, walking in the room, like, see me, that he was not a leader, but actually he is a complete leader. And, he speaks when he needs to speak and makes his presence known when he needs to know. So you can either go the direction that you're leaning toward or the complete opposite. And interestingly, for me in my younger years, I gravitated to the man that was like my father, but that necessarily wasn't what I needed to be gravitating towards. And I ended up, and I swear I've never been more happy. I've never felt so safe. And that is something that I share because I want, for women who want to be married, like I said, I'm not going to ever say that I could guarantee it for anybody because I couldn't guarantee it for myself. But I say that to pursue the betterment of yourself. So when that person presents themselves, you'll know you won't let them pass you by because you'll recognize it or recognize him. So, you know, they daddy issues are real, and that is, and I think, you know, not to go too long-winded, but I think even with my daughter, and you know, the relationship that she has with her father is not what I wish it was for her. And I noticed that, you know, a mother can tell a daughter all day long, you know, you're smart, you're this, you're that, but it's not until that dad says it.
Oh my God.
It's not until that dad says it that makes all the difference.
Much people, TJ, what you said has just been so profound. And I think I will kind of let that just linger for a second, because many of us are seeking, you know, the person that is probably the opposite that we need to be seeking. And again, we need a wake-up call sometimes to hear it. And unfortunately, sometimes it comes too late. You know, you get married, you get divorced and all this, and it's not a dart. I'm not throwing, you know, a stone. But if we can help people to see it on the front end and start to do the work they need to do, hey, XDMC, it isn't so important. And then the fact that I think there are a lot of people, men and women, walking around feeling unloved because they never heard I love you. They never heard I'm good enough. I'm proud of you. And subconsciously they're seeking it in their, you know, dating partners. So people can fool you, people can use you. You know, you can be deceived into thinking this is what I need, and no, to me, only your divine, your heavenly Father can give you that kind of validation. But unfortunately, again, when we're injured, sometimes we get kind of caught in a cycle, that web, that thinking pattern that says, whoa, I feel like I'm not good enough, or I'm missing this, or I better go find it. And then, like I said, it's also oftentimes, you know, wrapped up in beautiful packaging, but it's the wrong package. So again, great food for thought, TJ. Thank you. MC Recovery, Wellness, and Relapse Show says the ladies of the sphere, my favorite ladies. Wow. Thank you so much. Appreciate you showing some love. Thank you very much. Oh, I see you. Red Pill Hustle in the building. So I know that thumbnail photo ain't real. Oh, yeah, it is. It was us. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. I just dropped the link. And again, there's so many other ways in which, TJ, how did you break it? How did you get out of the pattern? So you saw, thank goodness you were able to start to identify, I am doing something again that is not giving me the outcome I want. I'm going after, again, characteristics I'm familiar with, right? I saw it at home and I wanted, so I was kind of drawn to thinking that would be the type of man. And then you notice that man that is commanding the room is dealing with a lot of different people, and he's not necessarily going to have, you know, the loyalty and the other parts of a good man that you want. So how did you break it? How did you, once you gain the knowledge of it? And Chantelle, you can jump in anytime too. Like, how were you able to start saying to yourself, you know, I'm getting it personal, but how did you start saying to yourself, you know, wow, let me, now that I understand, do differently? How did that, like, was it your own, you know, just self epiphany? Like you said, your daughter said it years later, but when you were in it, how did you come to terms with that? Oh, dang, TJ, we get a lot of mercy. TJ, come back up, please. Go ahead.
I had a question for her too. Dang,
Oh, here she go. Here she go.
Okay, perfect.
TJ, I was like, what you doing? Here we go.
Sorry. You know,
okay.
I wish I could say that I came into the revelation on my own. I really wish I could say that, but I didn't. And I shared with you during the Patreon, it was that relationship. You know, they have that Netflix movie, The Tinder Swindler, that I'm not sure if you all have seen it, but I met the Black People Meet creep. And that,
you all know what you're talking about, The Tinder Swindler? Go watch it. I was mad. I felt like I wanted my time back after I finished watching that show, but I did watch it. But yes, so similar to that person that was profiled in The Tinder Swindler on Netflix. Okay, so what happened now?
I met the Black People Meet creep, and that relationship, albeit
so the black man version of that
from Black People Meet, yes.
Oh, and, sorry for you. Sorry for you, ma'am.
And that situation could have ended my life, literally. And it was when because it ended in a physical violent situation. So when that happened, I went to therapy, you know, and my therapist, you know, because we had a relationship off and on, my therapist, for several years. And so he said, you know, well, Terry, have you considered that all these men have a similar have a similar type. And then he says, have you considered the fact that you might be? And so that was a very breaking moment for me, because again, it took me almost losing my life to realize, okay, you're messed up, lady. You keep picking the wrong guys and allowing the wrong guys to pick you. So
Wow.
it was really during that time I ended up taking like 2 months off of work because it was so traumatic for me, and I really wanted to find out why, because I have a good heart. I had always wanted to love and be loved, but there were some things I was doing wrong. And it kind of goes to what you're talking about. As much as I would be dressed up and, about my business, and I was successful, in all these areas, the go-to person, I was, and I was dressed to the nines every time I went to work, but I felt inadequate.
Dying inside. Hello, that was me.
I felt inadequate.
Or feeling of insecurity, feeling inadequate.
Yeah.
All these things that we do to compensate within relationships and without. Oh my, that's a word.
And whether we realize it or not, people like the Tinder swindler, people like the, Black people meet creep, they see it. Even though
they smell it on you. You think you covered it up, and they're like, oh, she lonely, she insecure.
She desperate. Let me do whatever I want to do. I'm about 49 at that time. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? And my daughter was grown on her own. And so I'm feeling like, I'm not going to be by myself. So, there was some desperation too, but it was then after I did that deep dive. And I have to be honest, after that, I was afraid to trust my own judgment.
Well, that's a scary place to be. When you get that message, someone helped you. It sounds like pushed you into the awareness of, hey, look, there's something with this pattern you have. And you get the same result. And why, and it's scary. She said she had to take time off to reflect, y'all. It might take that. It might. And shout out to Gail at night. Good to see you, sis. No comment, no question, just pure love. Appreciate you. One of my original moderators. And I'm grateful that you're here. I know you're a busy lady in these YouTube streets. But what you said, TJ?
And I had just turned 50 when that happened. I met him when I was 49 and I turned 50. I'm like, I waited till I was 50 years old to find myself in a physically abusive. So I had to really do some, self-assessing.
Hello.
Some self-assessing, and I did.
So, sorry, WT talking about this show ain't sponsored by Black people.
The hell you say?
Chantelle, jump in. I'm sorry. You said you had a question for TJ. What's your question?
I do, but I do want to add to what she said. I think regardless of how you come to the awareness, I think coming to the awareness is when you start doing the work. And that's why I encourage people to come out to that echo chamber, because as Suzette said earlier, your girlfriend's just as scarred as you. So going to your girlfriends to vet or to get answers isn't the right way. So even if you have to look in the mirror, for me, it was this don't make sense, because the last guy I dated, it's just like the guy before. And then the guy before was just like that. So even though it took TJ, her therapist, saying something to her, it took me saying, wait, it don't make any sense. But the question I have for TJ, and for you too, Suzette, you mentioned that you saw some qualities in your dad that you were repeating, but positive qualities in your granddad that you saw in your current husband. Why do you guys think that we are attracted to the negative qualities in our dad? Because it's the same thing with me. The men I was dating, my dad have some really good qualities, but when I tell you he got some negative qualities, he got some negative. And for some reason, I only attracted men who had his negative qualities, not his positive qualities. Why do you guys think that's the reason?
That's tough, because we see the good and then we see the not so healthy. But we go right to the not so healthy first. What do you think, TJ? That's I gotta ponder that for a second.
Well, interesting. Me, I think a lot of times, for myself, I think a lot of times people, and I'll speak for women, if your father's not there, you gravitate toward the one that isn't, because you want to be with them. So, we fantasize and we idolize the person that's not there. And I think in that respect, for me, I think I idolized my father because he was not there and I wanted him there. So that is what I unwittingly, but I think that's what I gravitated toward, because I idolized him because he did seem, he had the money, he had the cars, he had the, the women, he dressed nice. And so, that's what I looked at, and so I was always trying to feel like if I could get his attention, or if I could be the center of his attention as opposed to these girlfriends, then and so I think that's the same thing, that pattern that kind of went on. And it's funny because to talk about my daughter, and again, men, if you're listening, I know that you are providers and et cetera. I said, but you have to, there has to be a balance, because when I was married to my daughter's father, he worked so much. And his contention was, I'm doing this for our daughter, blah, blah. But all my daughter wanted was his time. And I remember she said, Mom, I've saved this much money. Do you think I could pay Dad so he can spend some time with me?
Yeah. And I agree. The people in the comments, I thank you, because I was pondering, like, why would you? And I think you guys are capturing it in your comments. Oh, to Chef, good analogy. Just like focusing on bad comments instead of good. We replay all the negative 10 more times than we do the positive things about ourselves and what we say to ourselves. We have, I forget the statistic, how many negative thoughts for every positive thought. So I think that's true. We are wired maybe to think about this. I see this, Mr. Untouchable. Welcome. I saw you in the chat. That the not so healthy is attractive like bad food. It is bad for you, but it tastes so good.
I know, right? Cheesecake. I'm just saying.
Why are you telling on me?
He said cheesecake. Oh my gosh, that's me too.
I'm just saying.
That applies in every way. John, no.
That's me too. That's me.
Break it down, says Jeff. My goodness, WT Funk, you've been busy. He's talking about, I would like to hear y'all answer to who would you ask to pick your life partner within 3 days? Okay, rhetorical. You would have to stay and no divorce. Who would you ask to pick from the men you already know? Okay, we'll touch that in a second, but I'm going to stay on what Chantelle had just asked, which is, why do we focus so much on the negative aspects? And I just think about that because, again, my analogy was more like, my report card days was, okay, you got straight A's, boy, you got that B. It was always kind of drilled in you to kind of focus on the need for improvement. And again, when people withhold love, withhold, emotional security and those type of things, the need was try to, to force them or to coax them or to do something so that they would show you that, that bond or that give you that kind of, reinforcement that you crave. And again, I don't know. And I've seen it also within, may lead a person anonymous, but I've seen it also with, hey, XDMC in the back. I see you. Welcome. A person I know, their father was, a serial, philanderer. And the person that, it wasn't always, the first person that she chose was someone, again, in a relationship with somebody else and kind of playing the other woman. And she also dated and was about to be engaged to somebody who also had a lot of issues that she had to kind of cover for. So I was like, golly, this is like she marrying or seeking men that is like her daddy. And it hurt me. And it was very difficult because, again, you see it with the people that you love and you don't want to, again, offend, step on toes. And I thought to myself, wouldn't you want to be the opposite of what would be unhealthy? But it's like almost like a moth to a flame. She went right back. And again, the guy ended up breaking her heart, marrying the other lady or whatever it was. I think it was they were both dating at the time. No, stayed with the wife, all kind of random stuff. And then the guy that she was like about to be engaged with, like I said, emotionally unavailable to the max, like so many problems that she was just covering for and trying to help and trying to, I asked her about it. I think she did end up getting therapy for it. But yeah, let me bring up, go ahead, TJ, go ahead. And Chantelle, if you want to add, I'm going to add XD.
I see that Herman Pittman said, men are judged by our ability to provide. It is how we show our love. I don't disagree with that. But here's the thing, in my opinion, because my grandfather, to that point, never said he loved me. But his way of showing love was food, shelter, clothes, food,
That's
shelter,
my daddy.
clothing.
That's my
You
daddy.
know,
Hello. That's my dad. Yeah.
but here, as we move forward, each generation requires more than that. They require some type of affirmation, some type of, hugging and kissing, that kind of stuff. And so with that, as a child, I understood what my husband was trying to do, my ex-husband was trying to do, but he didn't understand how that would affect our daughter needing him and seeking that validation from him and spending time, especially if your child's asking, can I pay dad to spend time with me? And even my husband now, who's a truck driver, by his own admission, he missed a lot of his children's activities and stuff growing up because he was providing. But now he realizes that there should have been more balance in,
They
games.
didn't have no rule book. I look at my dad with so much more empathy. It hurt so much in my childhood without me realizing it, feeling that emptiness, wanting the I love you, wanting the at a girl. Came to games when he could, did what he could, definitely was trying to be that all-around dad, but providing was the main goal. America was hard. It was like the bills got to be paid, the lights, got to stay on and all that. So I respect him a lot more, even though I know it did kind of, again, manifest in ways in my early dating days where I was seeking men, again, who were not emotionally available and whose love language, I guess, would have been just, hey, go this money, bye.
Well, that's what Janet Jackson did with her dad, with the documentary with Janet Jackson.
Yeah, and even I saw today was a perfect piece, and I didn't have the time to go pull it. Kelly Rowland was on Hoda and Jenna, the morning show. I don't know if you guys know who these people are, but Kelly Rowland has been guest speaking and guest hosting. My girl's skin look fire. First of all, Kelly Rowland is glowing in every way. And I didn't know because of our mom and other issues, she was separated from her dad, not by her choice. Moved to Houston, moved away from daddy. Daddy didn't even know that she moved. And they rekindled as adults just now. And she said it was Jay-Z that told her, you have to take risk in love, right? Calculated risk, right? Intelligent risk. And, he may want a relationship. He may reject you. The guy was the nicest. I mean, he's older now, of course, that old man sweetness. She looked just like her daddy. And to see them cultivate a relationship now, create a connection now was so good. And sometimes that needs to happen for you to get your healing, sis.
Can I stir the pot a bit?
Like her, but go ahead. Yes, please.
Let me stir the pot a bit because listening to TJ, Suzette, myself, I can relate, and I'm pretty sure a lot of women in the chat can relate that our dads were a little emotionally detached, like they weren't there. They showed their love by providing. Now, would we say that it's dad's responsibility, let's say men's responsibility, to start being more emotional, or is it our responsibility to start seeing things from that perspective? They show their love by providing. Like, for example, I know of a woman would complain that whenever, like, she would, cook, clean, do all these things, her husband would never show appreciation. So then I asked her, okay, well, show appreciation as in to say thank you, right? So I asked her, do you say thank you every time he pays the mortgage? So by looking at it, and she said no, but by looking at it from that perspective, instead of expecting them to bend to us and start showing emotions how we want them to show emotion, should we now just accept the fact that this is how they show emotion and this is how they are? What do you guys think about that?
I'm glad we got a man on this panel. Now, come on now. XDMC, perfect timing.
One love, sisters.
Welcome.
I came up because of course it's always TJ to say something to trigger me, but no, in a positive way.
Okay.
Because I have 2 daughters. My oldest is 22. Been married, going to be 32 years, and I will be 57. And the thing that with my wife has always been a stay-at-home mom since my kids were born. And the oldest, like I said, is 22. And I did work a lot. But what I was very conscious of was making sure I spent quality time. Not a whole lot it wasn't the time that I wanted to spend, but I value my wife being able to be at home 24/7 with them than me. I just wanted to be that provider and provide that environment and give them whatever they needed. So they never wanted for anything, thank goodness. But I did have quality time, because till this day, we was at the dinner table one day, and both my daughters, I asked them to bring up, what's your favorite childhood memories? And they had a lot. All of them contained me, because I'll play dolls. I'll get the action figures. Heck, I still got some of myself. And I get into the voices. We do the stage. They went on vacation every year. We went somewhere everywhere. And I went on the roller coaster rides with them. And I hate roller coasters, etc. But just to say, it wasn't the amount of time. It was the quality of time. But what I wanted to touch on was that one year, it's a couple of years ago, my oldest daughter, she had her Bluetooth, her phone connected to my car, even though she has her own car, but she has it connected to my car. So one day I'm driving and I come into the garage, and sometimes if she's on the phone, it will automatically switch to the car speaker. And all of a sudden my radio went off in her phone, and I hear this guy going, "No, F you, B. No, B, you did F you, B, this and that." And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then she's cursing back. And I said, wait, that's my child. And she's only 20. And I said, okay, I got out the car, went upstairs. And I said, so you lost your phone call? That's because I heard everything in the car. And basically I said, when have you ever heard me speak to your mother that way? When have you ever seen me and your mother get down like that? She went, Daddy, I never seen you guys argue. I never seen you disrespect Mommy. I just thought that that's how couples do it, because I've never seen you do it.
Whoa.
That took me back for a minute. She said, everything I see on TV, everything I see with our cousins, they get down like that, even though you don't. So I'm thinking something wrong with you and Mommy that y'all don't get. And we had a long talk about that, and so that's what I say when you mention that women attract to the bad side of I showed no bad side.
Yeah.
But because I showed none, she still looked for one. And thank goodness she ain't with this dude today.
Yo, help us, God.
Thank goodness
that hit home, bro. That hit home.
Not with this dude today. But I found that very, very interesting, that even though you never seen me and your mother argue, that you thought that was okay. In fact, you have never even heard me curse. Yes, I did, Daddy, when that guy didn't pay the invoice. Okay, one time. But you never seen me get down like that with not just your mother, but any woman. You never heard me raise my voice at you. And then I just want to add this to it. One day I was talking to a good friend of mine, and I said, you know what I noticed, man? I always got to look at myself on how I communicate with my daughters and even my wife. He said, what do you mean? I said, I want them to be able to be themselves and say anything in front of me, because I notice if I am disappointed in something that they do, they really take that hard. They like, wow, Daddy's disappointed. And I'm like, okay, I don't want them to crash. And I said, but what is that about, man? He said, it's because they respect you. They respect who you are. Your wife they respect you. So your opinion means something. How you see them means something. I never saw that. I never looked at that.
The power of fathers. Absolutely. There's so many people responding, and I'll let the ladies respond. This is the last call for the panel. If you want to come up now. I told my beautiful guests it would only be until 9, and we're hitting
I just wanted to share that.
But no. I'm not gonna. I want to address what you just said. Very powerful. I just wanted to tell everybody, last call if you want to come on up. Ladies, do you want to respond to what XDMC just said?
Well, I think I want to do it both. I want to do what Chantelle mentioned. I think, and then I'm going to talk to XDMC. Honestly, I think it's both. I think women have to adjust and to understand how men move and how they show love. But by the same token, men should also understand what women need, particularly when they're raising girls. And I'll give you an example. My husband, he he says that he's out on the road to go get my money. That's what he says, to get my money. But every time he does anything, I'm always thanking him. I wake up in the morning, he'll have breakfast cooked and I thank him, or he'll, I've done the laundry and he'll fold it and I thank him for that. He's like, you don't have to thank me. I'm like, yes, I do. I said, there's nothing wrong with that. And then by the same token, and it's not that we do it all the time, but by the same token, he'll say something, I really appreciate my wife doing this. And so I think, and by his own admission, this is not something he did early in his first marriage, but you learn through the things that you don't well and hopefully you make the modifications. And even we did an interview, he and I did an interview on Uncle Stu, and Uncle Stu asked him about, what something to the effect, what would he do differently? And he said, I realized there are some things I should have done to be more engaged with my children. But, I did what I knew to do because that's what his father did. But again, he said, you get a second chance with your grandchildren. So, and you do. So I think it's both. I think we as women, we can't expect to be coddled and, and part of that, when we expect it, is part of because we're missing something and we feel that we need that validation, quite frankly. So we can't, it's nice, but we can't expect to have it all the time. But by the same token, men give us something sometime. And what XDMC said is absolutely, critical, because I don't even think it's about the amount of time that I wish that my daughter's father would have spent. I just think if he would have had those quality moments, and I cried because again, to hear my daughter explain that on the show, it broke my heart. Because my daughter's 27 and that hurt stays with you. But I'm so grateful that her husband, I couldn't have imagined a better husband for her. And somebody asked real quickly, who would we trust to pick our husband?
Now, WT Font want to have a whole dissertation on a different side of the topic, but yes, that's what he asked.
It would be my daughter, because she would keep it one thou wow. And when she met my husband, she said, "Oh, he's nice. I hope my mom don't mess it up."
That was a tough question. Who would you give 3 days, your daughter, to pick a spouse that you could never divorce? Chantelle, who would you give the power to pick a spouse for you in 3 days?
The only person I can think of is my uncle.
Yeah.
Trust his judgment. Granted, even though we're not that close, which reminds me, I need to call him. Oh, Suzette, you in South Florida? I'll give you my plug. He owns a bakery and he sells rum cake and stuff. I'll send you that over.
Let me know. I love the rum cake. I love the rum cake. But yeah, your uncle. I thought my cousin. I only have one cousin that I could probably rely on to pick the right person for me. But go ahead, Chantelle. Sorry.
I was just saying, because there's certain things, and I learned this when in my last relationship, there's certain things men see that we don't see as women. Like there's just certain qualities, like just being in the room with them and having like 2 conversations, and they can pick up some stuff while we, the rose-colored glasses, like, oh, he's tall, that's all you see. But I would choose a man, and right now in my life, my uncle is the one who's making those the hard decisions.
Hi, and to your question, whether or not we need to adapt to how men express, or should men be trying to meet the needs and the ways? And I think someone mentioned the 5 love languages. If Fudge Apple, if just flash your face, thank you for coming up in the back for me. I won't show you on the screen, but just in the back here, I just want to see that you're not. I know you're not a bot, but show me your face, and then I can bring you up as an icon if you'd like. Last call again. The panel's getting deep, but we're gonna wrap up in a little bit here. But I wonder. I know, especially in premarital counseling, you need to address your love languages. Then I think a lot of us assume we know what the other person needs, and I think it will help both men and women to understand. Wow, she has this residual issue from her daddy. She didn't think she was loved enough. Now, again, it's up to a woman to gain that healing and perspective that he's not going to tell you he love you 24/7, but hopefully you will offer words of affirmation to her maybe more than you used to. And if you need, let's call it, physical touch, hopefully she will, because she love you, speak your love language and offer those things. Again, we cannot fill every void of the other person. The other person has to try to heal that void. But I do think it's for us to tell or know ourselves well enough that, you know what, I get triggered a little bit because I didn't get a I love you and a hug and a kiss and an affirmation. I was body shamed, or I was never allowed to do whatever it was. I see you, Fudge Apple. Big up yourself. All right, come on up. So, yeah, I do think it's a compromise in a sense. I understand that now. I understand my father way better than when I was growing up. I have so much more respect for him now, even because I thought there were so much problems he had with his expressiveness or lack thereof, that I was just like, looking at my classmates and counterparts, like, they daddy do this, they daddy come on this. And that's not who he is. I can't use the same rubric to judge him. And in fact, he went above and beyond the ways he knew how. So we got to really be careful not to kind of like judge every man the same, or every woman. And we have to, I think, make it our mission to understand, okay, this is what they need. That one person, this individual, this one that I'm hopefully going to make my life partner, needs a little bit more of this. Can I make that adjustment? And if I can, I will. Right. But again, he's not going to fulfill every need and take pictures of everywhere he's at to tell you he's not cheating or whatever. We're not doing that. Right. But to hopefully, I guess I'll call it a healthy extent, I think we can both try to meet the other person's needs, if that makes sense. Come up, Fudge Apple. We're going to make you the last guess. How are you?
Yeah, what's going on? Hey, look, it's Chantelle again.
Yeah.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
We can hear you. Welcome. I want to hear what you have to say about tonight's combo. Let me know. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I heard something. I had to realize something. I understand, like, okay, y'all raising daughters, and you can only teach them so much, and then when they're away from you, the world kind of teaches them, and the world gives a different message to women than what you're giving to them. And one of the things that I had to learn is women really don't like bad boys, and I know a lot of people find that surprising when I say it, but I'll explain it. All right, so women don't like bad boys. What women like is they tend to go after men that won't create standards for them. And the reason why is because, listen to it. Think about this right here. If a woman sets boundaries and she creates standards for a man, it's referred to as self-respect. But if a man sets boundaries for a woman, it's called slavery. And what I say, think about it. If you refer to a woman as, hey, maybe you could not wear this, probably don't take photos like this on the internet, I appreciate if you don't speak this way, then it sounds like you're trying to control a woman, right? So for a lot of women are attracted to men who don't set standards for them. But what they don't realize is the reason these men don't set standards for them is because they don't set standards for themselves. So they end up with these men who don't have any drive, who don't have ambition, who aren't accomplishing anything. And then they try to change them into the men that set standards for them. But the problem with that is the moment you change that man into a different man, he's not going to hang around the type of people that he used to hang around. And he's not going to deal with women that are attracted to those type of men, which just so happens to be you. So then you're left with a child. So then you're left with a child by a man that don't want to deal with you. Well, he didn't want to deal with you in the first place because at that point in time, he didn't carry himself with any type of character or morality or any self-respect.
Let me digest what you just said. XDMC, as a man, because I believe men need to speak to men and help me understand what brother Fudge Apple just said. And I think it's a very profound reflection. And thank you for sharing that. How would you respond to that, XDMC?
I actually agree with him in today's climate, in what I see. Has that been the experience for me? No, I believe because I got married younger, and like I said, I've been married, it's going to be 32 years, and it's not the time, it's the success of that marriage. I've been successfully married for 32 years. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, we grew together. I didn't know, I just happened to be fortunate enough to know what I wanted to do because I've always been an artist. I've always been an illustrator. So I knew whatever my career was going to be, it was going to pertain to that, something in the art field, where my wife had no clue on what she wanted to do, but she was intrigued with meeting someone like me at the time she met me, because she's been around what they, as MC Light used to say, the roughnecks, you know, the hood dudes or whatever. Was I one of those?
You're a roughneck, gotta have a roughneck.
Yeah. I was considered the undercover nerd, the geek. You know, I had the book smarts. I had to, you know, I was into Star Trek, Star Wars, superheroes, and she saw potential. And then come to find out that not only did she see potential, her mother saw potential, and her mother was like, that's a keeper. Don't mess that up.
So you are concurring with, we don't really want a bad boy.
Yeah.
I never heard nobody say that. I'm still digesting. Ladies, what you
especially gonna add? I think, and not to keep it going, but I agree with him, and you don't want a bad boy, and then what happens later on, you think you want that, then you realize that you see who's really running things. You see who's really successful. You see Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos are not bad boys.
No.
You know, and not bad in the way we see bad.
No. Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to say they good either.
No, exactly. Even Paris Hilton said, I gotta, you know, I'm done with the bad boys. I got a hot
Exactly.
nerd.
That's what I was about to say.
Go ahead.
That's what I was about to say, because I think what we want the most is security. What women want the most is security. So when we were younger, we think that we can get that from the bad boys, because, you know, he's in the streets and he's making that fast money and he's doing all this. But as we get older, we want a man with a stable job, with a nice career, you know, someone with a house, somebody. So I think it's the security that we're craving, and it's just it's in the bad boy. We just don't know how to identify it. So we think we want a bad boy, but I don't think, I would agree, I don't think we want the guy, because I mean, he can go to jail anytime. Like, you can get a phone call and he gone, and you're just like, okay.
Right.
Listen, when I went to my high school reunion, and when I went to my high school reunion, the women, they are women now. But in high school, I was always in the friend zone, or that's my big brother, or whatever, you know, because they wanted the roughneck. Oh, when I went to that high school reunion, they was checking the brother.
They was up on you.
Whoa! Wait, what do you do? Oh, what?
Look at what wisdom teaches. Help us, God.
And that's now I'm that dude they wanted, but too late. I got mine. You know?
This is so good. A fudge apple. Were you gonna add something?
Yeah, and you know what I want to say is, the truth is, yeah, women want security, and it can be rather complicated for a woman when she's younger, because the thing to it is, women don't want a man that's going to abandon them, but they also don't want a man who's going to pressure them. So when a woman's younger, she doesn't want to get into any type of serious commitment. So when men try to offer relationships to her, she feels pressured and she runs away. But how most women usually establish relationships when they're younger is after intimacy, right? So after intimacy, it's kind of like, okay, well, now you're my boyfriend, you know. But if you try to get a relationship out of a woman, let's say if you just start dating a woman, and then after a couple days or whatever, couple weeks, she doesn't give any signals of a relationship, and you're like, hey, yeah, let's be boyfriend and girlfriend. She's gonna start calling less, sending one-word text messages, and eventually she's going to try to wing you off, and then she's going to go to the next guy. So with that being said, it's like, yeah, women don't want to be pressured, but they also don't want to be abandoned.
If I may.
Hey.
That's a lot of information there. I will agree to an extent that we don't want a bad boy. We think we do, and not necessarily because we want security, but going back to my younger years, you gravitate toward that because you think it's exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I know I did, you know, because the bad boys always, you know, I'm never dated a drug guy or anything like that, but you know, the guys that had the athletes or whatever, they're exciting, and you think that the guy that's about his studies and all that, you think that's boring.
Yeah.
But it's funny because as you get, and then too far as the women who want to be pressured, I would suggest that it's a part of that I agree with the fact that they don't want to be pressure tied down. But part of it, I think, is because we think we have time.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want to be bored. What you were saying, women don't want to be bored, so that's why you tend to stay away from the good guys. Because yeah, if you, let's say a woman's looking for a certain man, if a man gets the exact type, if a woman gets the exact type of man she's looking for, she's gonna find that she doesn't want to be with him after a while because it gets boring. And that's the excitement about being with the bad boys, is like they're content. The worst thing you can do for a woman is let her get bored. She'll start messing around. She'll start trying to ditch you. And the bad boys keep things entertaining. But at the same time, you're running the risk of being, left out there on your own, damaged, and then you
calling
end up
his
being damaged
phone every
goods.
night, trying to figure out where he at.
Well,
He ain't answer no more. He's all that. But your point of
it's
Fudge
true.
Apple, and I'm gonna make everybody give a final comment because guys, we're gonna wrap up shortly. But that comment where women need direction, and that when you're, I don't know if you said it, I don't want to misquote you, a Fudge Apple, when you're saying that parts of us, I guess in our immature phase, not necessarily an age thing, but in an immature phase, we don't want that guidance or directive or direction from a man. We call it, quote, oppressive. But if you don't get that, you're actually getting someone without a standard. I would love Chantelle, Simone, and TJ's take on that. Do you think that is a true statement?
I think that and I can throw myself under the bus, it might not be everybody's experience, but I know when my dad was trying to control my life by telling me that I did not need to go back to school for my master's degree, at that time, I was like, oh, the patriarchy. Oh, he's so controlling. In looking back, in knowing what I know now and looking back, I saw that he was looking out for me. So in that sense, I will agree that we get too caught up in trying to make our own decisions without thinking well, for me, as I say, I was trying to make my own decisions without thinking it through, without thinking 10 years from now, 15 years from now. And men think more logically than women, right? We're more emotional, they're more logical, right? So I do think sometimes we tend to thinking our emotions. And even on yesterday's morning live stream, I had someone who said his wife want to go to nursing school, but she only want to work 24 hours a week when she's done. And it's just, and he's trying to tell her, like,
baby, go to Target. They're paying $25 an hour at Target. Just do what you got to do. Sit down.
He's going to tell her all that student loan. It don't make any sense. And it's not to say that we are less important. It's not to say that, we can't think logically, but at the end of the day, men think more logical. Like men, that's what they were created to do. But unfortunately, in the society that we live in, we tend to call that toxic masculinity. We tend to say the patriarchy. We tend to say they're trying to control us. So to some extent, I will agree with Fudge Apple.
Oh, wow. Fudge Apple, I'm going to let you have the last word. We're wrapping up, and we're going to get a final comment. So I'm going to start with the bottom row and kind of work our way up to the top row. I see a super chat there. So many comments about what you just said of Fudge Apple. I love the way, again, a male's perspective on these things is very, interesting and welcome, because, again, we may not see eye to eye, but it's good to know how you think and your perspectives. Sunbreeze adds, I did not want a bad boy because Ace was like, good to see you. Was like, nah, he projected. Okay, I hear you. I don't. She said, popular people want popular people. Understood. I don't know what a bad boy was until I was told after I was with him and left the relationship. He came back years later to start new because he was a good guy, but no, I wasn't into that. Okay, played himself. Sounds like. Get them likes up. We're almost at 100, y'all. Thank you, Alexis Tibbs. Never seen your name. I'm 20 and Fudge Apple is right about pressure. How do I set myself up for success? I love this because I was ready to ask y'all about the solutions of how we start to break the cycles of daddy issues that do not serve us. And you can use personal examples or just give your 2 cents. I love the fact that you're asking, and I'm glad you're here, because this is what we're trying to do, create the conversation so that you start to look at yourself and make the changes that you need. The guys around me aren't stable yet. They're young, boy, you 20. They ain't got no money yet. They're not going to have stability the way, and you got to be aware of that. Now you're looking for, and it's dangerous because I know only Jesus can change people's hearts. You can't create a man, but you want to look for kind of some similar seeds like some good fertile ground where he's trying to do certain things? And again, not lip service, but that's a very good question. But yeah, you're in the earliest of stages, my love. So you're not going to necessarily see a full ready-made type of man and to know what he will become, but you can use wisdom to try to select the best way we know how. You said, I don't want to wait too long to get married. Listen, you ready. I'm so proud of you, though. Get it. You're like, I know what I want, but these men right here, they 20, they ain't got no money. They can't sustain a household, most of them. Not until about like starting mid the later 20s do I see men start to actually kind of, you know, show you what they got, if you will, in terms of their career and how they want to meet the responsibility expectation, right? You Snuggles, you always talk about you want to come up. I know you ain't coming up, but come on through. Herman adds in response to Ace Butterfly, I don't think that's what he's doing. I think he's separating the picture from the person, the pumpkin from the pie. All right, I don't know. Maybe I'm not that deep. All right, so we're gonna go to our panelists, guys. I've enjoyed this, and I think again, just if it has one person start to look at themselves and try to figure out why am I dating who I'm dating and why am I getting the results I'm getting, we've won. So I'm going to start with you, A Fudge Apple. What are your final thoughts again to help people not to date their father's unhealthy characteristics, or how we can avoid some of this, or just how to maintain or seek out healthy relationships in general?
Well, yeah, come back to me. Yeah, go to him first.
Oh, okay. All right, think about it. Sorry. All right, XDMC, I'll start with you. You muted, sir. Go ahead when you're ready. He's like, let me
thank you, Fudge Apple. Thank you. I guess I'm the older dude. Go. The way I say it, the way it worked for me, the answer is already out there in the sense that there is a relationship, there is a marriage that you can look at as an example that's working. But the one thing you must keep in mind is that successful marriage is a one-off book. It's a one edition copy that fits for them. What you need to do is just take out a few chapters of that book to see what's working, to write your own book and make that relationship work for you. The cycle is easy to me to be broken as long as you don't keep following the same steps or the same mistakes of the book before that you read before. You are not your parents and you are not your grandparents. Mm-hmm. Their marriage is not going to be yours. You say you're going to marry, I want to marry the father is my first love or whatever. No, because that may be the first male that you love, but it is a different type of love. Mm-hmm. It is different, so you must not look and read somebody else's marriage as a whole book. My marriage is successful for me. I cannot tell you what's going to make yours work, but I can tell you what's not going to make it work. The common sense of being dishonest, the common sense of jumping in, getting married just because you are in the love of the idea of getting married. I want to be married because that is the right thing to do. No. We must be people in training and people prepared to be married to someone. And I'll leave it there.
Okay, it's not a one size fits all. I love it. XDMC, y'all follow him. You doing content, sir, on your channel and all that?
I really don't.
Okay, just kidding.
My page has been. I haven't put up new content. What the funk went at me about that one time. I haven't put up new content in years. My career is just really.
You're just making money, bro. I get it. That's why they should have looked at you instead of the friend zone and put you in practice. That's what I'm saying, Alexis. We trying to find some solutions for you. But again, looking towards the future, definitely do not think of everyone who you know of who has these quote unquote perfect marriages as the only blueprint for you. I think that's great advice. I think we get caught up a lot in we want what they have or how they do it. And there's no one size fits all. Great advice. Thank you, XDMC, for joining the conversation tonight. Glad to see you. Welcome up anytime. Freeman Journal with the super chat. I study men that had marriages and lives like the one I wanted and patterned myself. Okay, now we saying we want to get it's from a man to a man. Okay, I get that part. Yes. So a woman not necessarily patterning after your grandma and your mom and you want exactly what you just had or what your friend girl have or what they have on TV. Hello, the influence of media. But Friedman's journal is saying here, as a man studying other men that had marriages and lives like the one I wanted, and I patterned myself. So not exact, but seeing, okay, that formula kind of worked for him. Let me see if I can align myself in a way that hopefully will give me, again, good results. Not the exact same outcome as they have, but good results. Thank you, Freeman's Journal. Appreciate that. All right, you ready for me? A fudge apple?
Yeah, sure, I'll go ahead. Yeah, but what I want to say is like, okay, this is a metaphor. After every recession, life never goes back to what it was. People just learn a little bit less. And what I mean when I say that is society is going to continue to evolve. We're never going back to the completely traditional ways that things used to operate. And people just have to learn to adjust to it and take what they can from it and make something happen from it. For interest, I mean for damn, I can't even figure the word I'm looking for. Okay, for example, okay. I heard a man on another show say that men are programmed to cheat. And I'm like, no, men are not programmed to cheat. That's just a definition of your character. And you got to expect, like in today's world, this would have been something in the past that men would have been able to get away with because they controlled the finances in households. But in today's world, you got to realize that that's a definition of your character, your morality, and the degree of respect that people will show to you. But also from the women's side, I would say, you know, don't be so big on flashing your degrees and your value, your money. And I won't say that as if that's not a good thing, but what I'm saying is a man doesn't plan his life with a woman's resources, but women do plan their life with men's resources. This is why it's hard for women to date men that aren't successful. And as society goes on, it becomes harder to be successful. So the pool for the type of men that women are looking for shrinks. And because of that, women aren't getting into relationships with a lot more men. Now we kind of doomed ourselves as humanity because the population is going to start going into a decrease. By the end of this century, I can't remember if it's China or Japan, but their population is going to decrease by 100+ million. So instead of a growing population, we're getting a declining population. And I'll leave it with this right here. Stop trying to date your parents, because that's a lot of people's problems. Your parents' job is to discipline you. That's not your partner's job. Your partner's job is to be a cohabitator and help you build something, right? If you're looking for your parents, you out here looking for, it's a lot of women out here, they looking for a man to adopt them. Yeah, they're looking for a man to adopt them. You're not looking for a husband. I mean, so what you want? Do you want to ride in a Benz or you want to ride in a baby stroller? Because ain't nobody gonna get. Listen, a man's not gonna. Listen, a man is not gonna treat his daughter. Listen, a man's either gonna treat you with discipline or respect. If you act like a child, then he's gonna treat you like a disciplinary. If you act like a woman, he's gonna treat you with respect. And as a man, I would just say, yeah, guys, just understand society's changing. It's evolving. It just means we're gonna have to work harder and and try to get over the cheating thing because work over and adapt.
I hear you. I have some shows coming up just along these lanes. Welcome, Learn Biz, the podcast. This is a critical conversation. I'm going to watch a rewind. Saturday, I'm going to be talking with a therapist and psychologist about single mother stress. Saturday, Sunday, I'm going to talk with two lady lawyers, since y'all want to see married Black women with degrees, even though y'all don't care about the degrees, apparently. Y'all don't plan around our resources, apparently, but women who are doing motherhood well, who happen to be professional. Sunday, we're going to do millennial motherhood. We got to tell the story. And I agree with you in terms of respect versus discipline. That's very interesting. I've never heard it put that way in terms of the balance of relationship. Andrew over here asking deep questions. Is a wife a partner or what you say? Sir, we closing the conversation down. We can't start. Should be a friend and a partner. I think both. Hey. That's how
I hold on. Can I say this was the sentence I was looking for to end it with? Yeah. You can't expect a man to treat you like a child and respect you like a woman.
All right, you dropping nuggets. Well, I appreciate you. A fudge apple coming through with some gems. Don't expect a man to treat you like a child and respect you like a woman. All right, sir. I'm gonna leave that on that note. He just out. Yes. Loved it. All right, TJ, I'm gonna give Chantelle the last word. Final comments, ideas, solutions, wherever you want to go with it.
Well, I think I wrote for Alexis Tibbs. I mean, I know she's 20, but my daughter met her husband at 23, and he was 25. And my daughter said, "Hey, Freeman's Journal." She said, and here's the thing. I didn't teach her how to be a wife. She didn't learn that from me because I wasn't one at the time. Oh, wow. Because I raised her primarily as a single mother when her father and I divorced. But what she said when she knew that she wanted to be married, she started hanging around women that were. She also said when she was looking for a serious relationship, she looked for the things that she had 5 things. She said she wanted a man with character, a strong work ethic, who valued family, who came from a bigger family because she's an only child. She said she wanted a man that had a relationship with God and that was a provider. And what she meant by that didn't say that he had to have the money right then, but he had the willingness and the ability to pursue that. And that is what she got with Kevondrick. So with that, were able to build, and they're still building together. They were together. Now they've been married for like almost 4 years. They have my granddaughter. So, you can find someone young and you are building together. I had 3 of my sorors on my show a couple of nights ago. All 3 of them, we all went to the University of Oklahoma together. All 3 of them met their husbands in college, have been married over 20 plus years, 2 of which I introduced to their husband. I'm like, how come I could pick one for y'all and couldn't pick one for me? But anyway, so, but they were all young. So, and they built with their husbands. So again, I think the potential was there, but again, the character mattered. The ability to provide, not necessarily that they had it all figured out, but the ability and the character. So you can find someone young. It's not a one size fit all, but my daughter also said, she said, "Mom, I didn't say anything about he had to look a certain way." She said, "God knew he wasn't going to play me like that and give me somebody ugly." So, but I didn't she said, I didn't want, she said, I didn't make it a priority. She said, but God wasn't going to play me like that. I wanted to have somebody I was attracted to. So that is important. If you look at those things, the character, the things that because even looks fade now. Yeah. So if you focus on those things, you will find that person and allow them to find you, and you won't wait till you're 50 like me to get it. So thank you
there's a word all through that. I see you. The chat is loving it. Freeman Journal says you have a very smart daughter. It was Learn Biz, the podcast. Fantastic channel. Again, 2 lady lawyers. TJ always comes through with a good word. Much respect. Thanks for joining the conversation, TJ. I love you. Always welcome here on the Suzette.
Thanks, Chantelle.
Love you. Thank you so much.
And I'm glad we had a good talk, young lady. Oh, I'm sorry, I say young lady. No disrespect. I'm just old. I'm just old.
You're so sweet. Thank you, TJ. Y'all drop TJ's channel. Thank you in the chat if you would, RM. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here and always adding so much to the conversations. Thank you for sharing so transparently as you always do. All right, TJ, I'll see you. And then there was one. The woman of the hour. She looked tired, y'all. I done kept her all the time. She like, dang, you didn't know I did my morning chat. You got me over here working like crazy. And I want y'all please to go subscribe. She is, like I said, busy this month. Proud of you. Every day she on her channel. And I done kept her way longer than I asked her. So I thank you for being a good sport. Sorry about that. But the conversation, sometimes get very good. But final thoughts from this lovely YouTuber here. Y'all, I definitely will be live Saturday, 12 noon, Single Mom Stress. Sunday, I think it's going to be 1, Millennial Motherhood, the good, the bad, the ugly. So we're going to break down some more of these topics. I did a lot of politics the last few weeks, so I'm going to go back, pivot a little bit this weekend to personal development and relationships. All right. So final thoughts. Thank you, Chantelle, for your patience.
This was such a great conversation, Suzette. I think we dived into, so just like last night, our intention was to stay on this road, and then we went over. And as we said, those are the best kind of conversations. So thank you so much for having me on. I would say my biggest final thought is self-awareness, because you don't know what you don't know, as we said last night, and you have to forgive yourself for not knowing what you didn't know, right? So in having these conversations and it doesn't matter how you become self-aware. As TJ said, it was her therapist pointed out. For me, it was me saying, wait, putting the puzzle together. For you, however you became self-aware, it's just important that you become self-aware by asking the hard questions, and then remove yourself from the echo chamber. Surround yourself with people who has a different perspective than you, and question your belief. Question, why do I think how I think? Is it because I was programmed to think like this, or is this really my true belief? And I think that's how we'll start seeing change. That's how we'll start seeing cultural change within our community.
Individually. Thank you. Have a great night. Love you, sis. Hope we do it again. I'm sorry for going super long, but you were fantastic. And I appreciate and celebrate your wins. Thank you for being a part of my community as well. All right. Take care.
You so
I'm going to let her go. She's probably
tired.
tired.
Chat. I'm tired. I'm going to take a nap.
Love you, sis. Thank you. Chantelle, like, yo, this girl got me working like what? But I've enjoyed this look. My sister, I know she YouTubes during the day, she YouTubes in the morning, and she has been so committed to her craft, and I'm grateful for her. You guys, I hope you've enjoyed the conversation. Again, topic, are you dating your dad? #daddy issues. So I hope it gave you some food for thought. That's what it's about. It wasn't from a judgment space, but more so think about what you're doing and why you're doing it. As she said so eloquently, where are you getting your beliefs from? And that is the point of, the soul searching that we all need to do. So catch me for sure Saturday. I don't know what Thursday show yet will be, what time, but Saturday, 12 noon for sure. Dr. Candace Drummond, Single Mom Stress will be our topic on Saturday. Sunday, I'm going to do a Sunday show with two lady lawyers, the millennial motherhood look behind the curtain, right? The good, the bad, the ugly. We're going to talk about their balancing a business. Both of them, I think, got 2 small kids, husbands. And, I don't think we get to talk to that example. Again, we are changing the narrative by being just present, right? Showing people in this media platform that there are other people, who are doing it. And we can have it too. So I'm grateful for you. Again, put in that work. We got to make ourselves findable. We have to hopefully improve our mindset, our mental health, dig through the daddy issues if that applies to you. And just get yourself, your spirit, mind, body, and spirit ready, hopefully, to make that ultimate connection. So I will finish reading a few more of the chat and then head on out. It's been a good show, y'all. Here's the Cash App if you want to show love. Thanks to everybody who given super chats and supporting the channel. Thank you so much to my Patreon members. Remember, Patreon tomorrow. Y'all see it here. You can join the conversation if you'd like to support my content and get exclusive content that will hopefully help you grow and improve. We're going to be doing work tomorrow night with Dr. Thunder, talking about using a calendar to create more time for your life, more time for yourself, more time for what matters. He has a presentation prepared. I'm grateful that he's going to spend some time with us on Patreon tomorrow night, 9:30 Eastern Daylight Time. So if you're not a Patreon member, consider joining. All right. I've made it accessible, and hopefully you guys will like what we're doing over there. Some behind the scenes when I'm out and about in the streets of Miami, and some exclusive shows and focus on personal development as well. So I'm giving you guys some personal development this weekend to see where y'all at with it. Again, your viewership, your likes, and all that tells me where to point. Again, I have a little bit of a tray, and I'm picking up this and giving it to you, picking up, another sample, giving it to you, and just seeing what the people enjoy having the most. So that's what we're doing. I haven't settled on one specific area for my channel. I love personal development. I like current events and social justice and legal topics. And I also do like some relationship and family and interpersonal development as well. So hopefully you guys like it. All right. You'll show me. Thank you for watching. Let me hear what y'all got to say. Final comments. Ace Butterfly, you should address the working mother stereotype. Yes, millennial motherhood is Sunday at 1 and Saturday is 12 noon, right? The single mother, we're going to talk about the single mother, and then we're going to talk about the married kind of challenges too. Everybody got challenges. So we're going to hear from both ends of the spectrum there. Thank you for being here, Ace Butterfly. 2 more likes. Y'all please get it to 100 if you have not hit the like button. Thanks, RM. Yes, Snuggles talking about we like come again. Let's go. Thank you, Sunbreeze. I appreciate it. Like I said, we put in work. Poor Chantelle got to be tired. She was looking like, okay, when are we going to ride? Thank her her again for being a part of tonight's show, having me on her show. If you did not watch our show last night, that was also very good. Again, about personal development. We just went a step further in terms of some of the issues that plague us, you know, as women. And I appreciate you guys for being here. One more like, get it to 100, get it to 100, get it to 100 before I get off. I'm not getting off till I get 100 likes. That's how about that. Thank you. When are you going to get barefoot pregnant? We working on it. We'll see. Y'all so funny. Get down. Let's go. Listen, thank you for your insights. MC, Recovery, Wellness, and Relapse Show. Very good insights. Thank you, Gaston's World. Appreciate you coming up. XDMC, great insight. And again, we need that balance, men and women, you know, sharing their voice, sharing their experiences. I think people relate to one another's stories more than anything. So having you here, sir, definitely added to tonight's conversation. Take care. Have a great one. Appreciate y'all. RM, my soldier. Sunbreeze, thank you. All the moderators. I don't want to call anybody to show no favoritism, but thank you. RM, be busy in these streets, y'all. Thank you so much. And again, we have some good shows. Finally got some a chance to catch my breath within my life and plan a couple good shows this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. We're going hard. Tomorrow night, Patreon, 9:30 with Dr. Thunder. And Thursday, I'm not sure yet what topic. I'm going to kind of check the news and see what I want to do for Thursday's show. So again, schedule may change. Thank y'all for rocking with me. Every time I say I want to go live, I sometimes don't get to. I didn't get a chance on last Sunday, was so busy. But as I get the shows kind of lined up again, we're going to go probably in the evening. I like the 7 p.m. So I don't know if that's going to be a permanent change, but I'll definitely let you guys know as we evolve. Hey, I hope you give me the space to evolve a little bit as my schedule and my demands in life change. You know, I want to create that balance for myself as well. So thank you. Take care. Did we get to 100? Thank you, Andre. I saw you in earlier. Thank you so much for being a part of my community. Thank you for being a Patreon member, holding me down. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. PA in the building. Thank you so much, Andre. Good to see you, my brother. So tonight, Wednesday, 9:30, Patreon only with Dr. Thunder, doing a little teaching. I can't wait to hear his presentation. I haven't even seen it, but I'm excited to have him and have my patrons learn from him about that calendar and time management and how we can utilize it to the best of our abilities. So again, all patrons tomorrow, 9:30 p.m. with Dr. Thunder, Patreon exclusive. You can still join. And I'll see you for sure Saturday and Sunday. Saturday again, 12 noon, Single Mom Stress. And Sunday at 1, Millennial Motherhood, the good, the bad, the ugly, with my two lady lawyer friends who are going to kind of, you know, pull back the curtain and let us see a little something. Anyway, did we get to 100? RM, please tell me so I can go. Did we get to 100? Hit the like button, please. Subscribe if you are not subscribed. I have had a fantastic time with Miss Chantelle Simone. She's just a fabulous content creator. Love the direction she's going in. Again, controversial to some, but needed to others. However you feel about her, you got to respect her as a content creator. So plus the respect on my girl name. I'm grateful to have her be a guest and to welcome me on her channel as well. And I'm grateful that she, you know, hung in there tonight, even though I know she had a long day, poor thing. Again, hit the like button one more time. Here, go to CashAPP if you want to show some love. Let me just see if anybody else gave and contributed. Thank you to everybody who super chatted tonight. Thank you so much. Andrew, I saw you. Appreciate you so much. Thank you again. Oh, to Chef. Appreciate Patreon members. Be there tomorrow, 9:30, if you can, live. And I'm going to set up Thursday. I don't know what yet we're going to talk about. But you know, we all get swamped sometimes. So please bear with me. There are times where I'm going to again, I don't know if I'm going to switch to an evening schedule or maybe like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't know yet, but as I get my life together, we got to make adjustments. And I hope you will rock with me as I kind of, do that. So Patreon members, see you tomorrow, 9:30 with Dr. Thunder, Saturday for sure, 12 o'clock. Oh, we got 105. Okay, now I can go to bed. Y'all, thank you for making my night. Appreciate you. Yes, A Fudge Apple came through with some wisdom. Thank you so much for your insights and being a part of the conversation. We at 105. All right, y'all. I'm going to go. Appreciate you. Hit the like button. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being a part of tonight's conversation. I hope it helps somebody. All right, y'all. I for sure will see you Saturday and Sunday. And Thursday, I will figure it out what we're going to talk about, if it'll be current event or if it'll be something like this as far as relationships. Okay, take care. Thank you for rocking with me. Appreciate each and every one of you who are watching. All right, have a great evening, and I'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.